Welcome to the Saturday morning college football kickoff show on Pub Sports Radio. We are back and we are ready for a second Saturday now of a full college football slate. Ian Cameron, Conor Mac, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss with you, and we're ready to look through this entire Saturday card, game by game, through the next 2 hours. So let's get right down to business. We start off with Illinois taking on Virginia. This game kicks off next hour, so make sure you note the start time here, 11 a.m. Eastern. 8 a.m. Pacific. A couple of games that kick off before noon Eastern, so make sure you're aware of that. Virginia, 10.5 point home favorites here, 55.5, 56 the total, some 56.5 as well. So a wide range when it comes to that total. For Virginia, they beat up on William and Mary last week. The FCS opponent, very impressive. Brennan Armstrong, their quarterback, very impressive. The defense, very impressive. But how much can you really put stock into that when you're playing an FCS foe? William and Mary's not a bad FCS team, so for Virginia to beat them pretty handily like that was very impressive last week overall. We'll see if they can keep that up here this week against Illinois, who, by the way, will have once again Art Sitkowski as the quarterback this week. There's some rumblings. Brandon Peters might be ready to return from that injury, but that's not the case. Illinois losing to UTSA last week. Meep. The Roadrunners getting it done. That was actually one of my top plays last week. They won outright against Illinois. But now we've got basically Illinois as a dog again. And we remember they won outright as a dog against Nebraska in their opening game. So it's a tricky game. I'm not ready to lay double digits with Virginia. They still have to prove a little something on defense. Meanwhile, Illinois' defense kind of fell apart against UTSA. If Armstrong plays well this week, if you can get some points out of Illinois, maybe this game could go over the total. That's the lean. Not a strong opinion, but a lean, at least for me, toward there being some points scored here in this game. Conor Mac, what do you think? Illinois, Virginia.
Yeah, I'll be quick. We got someone's got a mic on. Jose, I got feedback. All right. I lean with Illinois here. They gave up a ton of yards, but they had a ton of yards last week against UTSA. I think it'd get over as well. So I lean Illinois. I didn't take it. Virginia had an easy win against William and Mary. But yeah, I take the 10.5 points and I take the over. I think they can hang around with Virginia a little bit.
And thank you for the dono, Jake Kaiser. We appreciate that. $10. Absolutely. We appreciate that. Definitely. And my mic's fine. My mic can't be it. My mic's never it.
It's not your mic. I got something. Do you have something in your ear? I have something.
Yeah, it's something else. It ain't me. That's all I'm saying. It ain't me. But thank you, Jake Kaiser, for the $10 dono. We appreciate that. Big Ragoo, you got any thoughts here? Illinois, Virginia.
Just a slight lean Illinois. Third time out for these guys. FCS game on the other side with Virginia, so a little bit of a tune-up game there. I'm going to have to see a little bit more on the Virginia side, but Illinois, we know what we're getting with them pretty much. So I would take the points, the lean.
All right, DJ Big Boss, what do you like here?
This would be a stay off for me. This is the third game out for this new coach over here at Illinois. This is like a real good make or break game for him. I expect a good effort. I lean with you guys with Illinois, but first year coach in this spot, anything can happen. He's playing in a Virginia stadium. Out here in Virginia, they real about the football, the stadiums, the crowds. So all that type of stuff is going to play its part in this game. And I don't know, it's going to be a good one to watch for me.
All right, next up here, we've got a very interesting game, actually, pre-noon Eastern. Western Kentucky and Army. We've got Army 6-point home favorites, 51.5 the total in this game. Tyheer Tyler was named the starting quarterback for Army, got injured last week, won't play. Christian Anderson is going to be the quarterback here for Army in this one here today. That's not a big deal. I mean, this is not like one of those fish out of water situations. You're replacing a starting quarterback with someone who can't play or hasn't played before. This guy started a bunch of games, Christian Anderson, for Army. I think they'll be fine without him. He knows how to run this triple option. He's been in the system, been in the program under Jeff Monken now for a couple of years. I expect them to be fine offensively. And, triple option without adequate enough time to prepare, it can be tricky to try to stop that. Western Kentucky's defense was very good last year. We don't know how much better, if it's going to be as good this year yet. They played Tennessee Martin in their first game, but we'll see if that defense can stop the run here in this one. May be tricky to do that because, look, I was impressed with Army offensively against Georgia State last week. They basically did whatever they wanted with the triple option. I think they could put up some points here. And on the flip side, though, you've got a very, very dangerous Western Kentucky passing game coming here into Army, where you've got Bailey Zappi and the offensive coordinator that he had at Houston Baptist. That's extreme up-tempo, air raid offense. And I think they're going to do damage here themselves against Army's defense. These service academies, one thing I've learned in my 10 years now, betting college football, 10-plus years now, can't believe it's been that long. But one thing I've learned is service academies don't have good secondaries. All right, their pass defense just isn't very good. They lose coverage. They break down, can't cover receivers down the field, don't have the speed to cover good receivers down the field. So I think the Western Kentucky passing game can work. I think the Army triple option offensively will work against this Western Kentucky defense. I know they're going to play slow, and this total's been bet under because Army's, going to chew up the clock, run the football a lot, time of possession, very slow pace, but they could be very efficient. And if they're efficient like they were last week, they're going to put points on the board. You're going to see Western Kentucky playing fast, chucking the football all over the place. I think this total is just a bit too low given the situation. I think Army's offense matches up well with WKU. I think Western Kentucky's offense matches up well with Army's defense. So I think this game could get over 51.5 here. Conor Mac, how do you think of this one, Western Kentucky, Army?
Yeah, it'll be quick. That was an impressive win by Army. Western Kentucky whipped UT Martin. I was all over them. Yeah, I think they can throw the ball around. I lean towards the over. It just any game, military game, I pause on an over. I'm usually always taking the under because you talk about Army will chew up the clock. Yeah, I'd lean Western Kentucky with the points. I didn't love this one either, and I'd lean over, but this was a pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Hey, I'm all about the academy football. I love it. I'm a studious student of the game for these guys, but I backed Army a ton last year and prior. But I think Western Kentucky's the right spot here, just because of the fact, like you said, with the new look offense, with the Houston Baptist transfer, and I kind of like what they did on the defensive side too. They went out and they brought in. They have a nice defensive end transfer they brought in. I think on the edges they're going to be strong. And we know what Army's going to do. They run the ball like 90% of the plays. If they throw the ball four times a game is a lot. So I think the triple option is always interesting and time for preparation. But I think Western Kentucky could get it done here. I got the game basically as a pick 'em. So the value to me is in the points. So I'll take the points here in this spot. Even though I think the last 3 times they met, Western Kentucky has been victorious also. But Army's tough at Mickey Stadium. They're almost unbeatable at home. But it's going to be a great matchup. But I'll take the points here.
I mean, you have two. You talk about contrasting styles. One team's triple option, slow pace, run, and the other is throw the ball all over the field, fast, speed it up, extreme tempo. So that's why it's a very fascinating matchup. You would think, you're excited, Ian, for Western Kentucky Army? Are you nuts? No, I think it's a fascinating matchup. DJ, what do you think?
The service academies, I try to stay off of those, and when I do, I try to take the total under. And looks from listening to you guys, the under is not a sweet spot in this one. And I know for a fact that Western Kentucky can get out there and play some tough defense and move the ball around on offense. So it's a stay off for me.
All right, good stuff. We're approaching 100 live viewers already and just after 10 a.m., so we appreciate that. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Oregon, Ohio State 14.5-point home favorite, 63.5, 64.5. The total's been bet up. It's another one where it's hard to argue with that in my mind. I mean, it's pretty high. The one thing that's concerning is it's an early start, 9 a.m. local Pacific time start on the Oregon body clock. Does that impact them negatively in this game? I don't know, but I don't know. I don't see Oregon stopping Ohio State. Okay, the secondary was completely rebuilt from last year. New faces everywhere, and you've got to take on one of the top receiving corps in college football with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson leading them. That's going to be an extremely difficult ask here for Oregon's defense was the secondary is the weak link, and that's not where you want to be weak against Ohio State in this passing game. And look, I was impressed with C.J. Stroud. Struggled early against Minnesota last week, but he shook off the struggles early and had a really strong second half. You know what's amazing about Ohio State? They can score from anywhere right now. This team, they can score. They can strike a quick strike offense. They can drive the ball down the field methodically, but they can also strike for these 60, 70, 80-yard touchdowns at any moment. So this is going to be a challenge here for Oregon's defense. And when you bet overs, you like those teams that can have that quick strike scoring ability, and Ohio State has that. Oregon's defense, I was not impressed. Like I said, against Fresno, and Ohio State's defense, I was not impressed. They couldn't stop the run, and they're very, very lucky Mohamed Ibrahim for Minnesota got injured. I mean, they could not stop the run whatsoever. Their D-line got no push. There was no pressure on Tanner Morgan for much of that game. The secondary got, eaten up a little bit. So Anthony Brown and Oregon's offense and that stable of running backs, I think they've got success here too. I mean, it's a high number for an early game, but I want no part of an under here. None at all. It's over or nothing for me. Conor Mac, what do you think? Oregon, Ohio State?
Yeah, same for me. It's over or pass. I mean, both these defenses, like you talked about, yeah, leaky. Like they said in the chat here. I think Ohio State just does what they want. And I think, yeah, Oregon, I mean, for Minnesota, for Morgan to throw for 200, they ran for over 200. They put up 31 points. I got to think Oregon could do about the same. I think the score is going to be really similar. I lean a little bit now that, like I said, if I kind of saw the 14 in the hook, I think this could be backdoor. Maybe I think Ohio State wins the game, but I'd be careful laying the 2 touchdowns in the hook here.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, I can't trust Oregon even this many points on the road, struggling with Fresno at home, and no secondary that I trust against the strength of the Ohio State offense, which is the receiving game, the passing game. So I think that's really it works. The perfect matchup, I think, for Ohio State on offense. Big Ragoo, what do you think? It's
going to be a pass for me. I like Oregon a lot. I mean, going the year prior, outside the COVID year, I was all about Oregon, and I like the fact that they were going to try to set the precedents in the Big Ten or the Pac-12 for recruiting defensive players and getting things lined up to try to get them more competitive in the bowl games. But offensively, offensively, I think they have weapons. I don't know how they're going to match up against Ohio State, and like you said, that travel back towards the Midwest, early time slot. I still got to wait and see for Oregon. So, and it's too many points for me to lay with Ohio in this spot. So I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly on the side because, look, after what I saw from Ohio State's defense, last week, that does worry me a little bit laying this much. But at the same point in time, I think for this Oregon defense, this is a really rough matchup. DJ, what do you like here?
Man, this is a spot right here where the hook probably just get me off of this one, though. But I really want to get involved with this one. I like what Ryan Day is doing with Ohio State. I mean, solid year after year, despite all odds. He's been doing a good job with his troops. He got them back just as aggressive as they was, all the other years. And the interesting thing about it is many people may not look at the perception, but Ohio State, they play 2 ways. Either they come in the game fast and they run it up quick, or they come in the game slow and they just kill you by the second half. And last week they looked horrible in the first half. Like you said, Minnesota could have ran away with that game, despite some injuries and stuff. But at the end of the day, second half, they were like the team that you expected to come out in the first half. So that has a lot to do with coaching, first game of the year, all that kind of stuff. So I really back Ryan Day in this one. I would love to jump on this one first half. It's weird. I'd even take it at the 7 instead of 7 in the hook. You know what I mean? Because these 2 teams are about a touchdown apart at the end of the day. But then with this being the second week for teams in football right now, we seen last night, special teams comes into play, blocking punts, running back kicks, all that kind of stuff happens because, people are tightening up in certain areas and they see things in the game before. So I'm careful with the totals this week as well. So I'm going to leave that alone as well. So I'm going to have to jump off of this one unless it goes down a half a point. I'd take Ohio State first half -7.
All right, good stuff. Next up, we've got Pitt and Tennessee. We've got a couple of these ACC-SEC matchups taking place today, and a couple of home underdog SEC situations as well, which you don't always see in non-conference action. Pittsburgh, 3.5-point road favorites, 57 the total. This has been a high move on the total, 52 to 57, and I think it's twofold. One is Pitt played fast up-tempo against UMass last week, which was shocking to me. That's not the way Narduzzi usually that's not usually the way Pitt plays offense under Pat Narduzzi. But you got to think part of that was, hey, we're playing Tennessee, and we know that next week, and we know they're going to play extreme tempo under Josh Heupel. So very, very fascinating they did that. Maybe it was to get ready for this game. Look, I watched Tennessee's offense against Bowling Green last week, and I think Jim Harbaugh deserves, people to get off his back about, not letting Joe Milton go. Joe Milton didn't do anything that impressed me last week. Nothing at all. It was terrible. He was awful in the football game. He couldn't throw a forward pass with much effectiveness whatsoever. All the offense was running the football for Tennessee. That's about it. I don't see progression or improvement in this guy whatsoever. Pitt, how much can you really glean from their game last week? It was basically a scrimmage for them against an awful UMass team, one of the worst teams in college football. Personally, for me, guys, look, Kenny Pickett's been around the block long enough where I think this should be the year he has his best year yet at quarterback. The defense still for Pitt is very good on paper. And look, Tennessee's offense got bottled up at times and forced to field goals at times and forced to punts at times by Bowling Green at home. I mean, that's not giving me a whole lot of confidence for the Vols here today against Pitt, a much better team, a much better defense here in this game. I got in at Pitt early in the week. I said, this line's going to go up on Pitt. It has to with what we saw from Tennessee last week. It did. I got -1. Now at -4, I'm a little bit hesitant, but I could only endorse the Pittsburgh Panthers in this game. I don't want any part of this Tennessee. There's a couple of spots where there's SEC home dogs, and I don't want any part of them in these matchups today. Look, you get concerned. I know the ACC had some issues last week, but this is a matchup play, and the matchup is Pitt's better than Tennessee right now at this moment in time. So I think they'll get the victory. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Pitt, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee was not able to throw it at all last week, but good thing Bowling Green's like the worst run defense in the country, so they racked up, 330 yards plus. No. That's not going to happen today. I'm with you. If you got in early, I think Pitt is the play. I still think they are. I just don't love it as much. Key numbers now we're getting 3.5, 4. I think Pitt still wins. These teams haven't played each other in a long time. It's like 1983. So I thought that was a little weird. But I only got to be Pitt here. I think they're just better right now. I think it's going to take Tennessee a little while. And I'm on their under win total. I don't think Tennessee's going to be very good this year. So give me Pitt.
Yeah, I think they get it done. I mean, and the thing, too, that you watch is the line movement. Like usually when the line goes from -1 to -3, if it hits -3 or 3.5, there's some buyback and there's some people come in and take the other side. Nobody's done that here. It went from 1 to 2 to 3, and it's continued to blow right through that key number of 3, and it's up to 4 now on Pitt. So there's not a whole lot of love for Tennessee in the betting markets, and including people that are obviously betting big bucks on this game, and I don't argue with them. There's not a lot to like with Tennessee. Josh Heupel, by the way, you might think he's a good coach. I don't. I thought UCF went backward under him. I don't think they played as well. So let's see if Tennessee answers the call. But Joe Milton stunk last week. I still got questions about that defense, which was hideous in their camp. A lot of issues with Tennessee. This is an SEC team in name only. They're a bottom feeder, I think, with Vandy, with some of those other teams in this conference. What do you think here, Big Ragoo? Pitt, Tennessee.
I'm going to show Tennessee a little bit of love in this spot right here.
Oh, okay.
One big reason is that Tennessee Volunteer home base is a tough place to go in there and play football. Now, I know we had our issues last year with Pruitt. He stunk up the joint. I mean, if he had the top recruiting class basically and blew it. So, and he's out of there. So, and Heupel, I think the jury's going to be still out on him. Yeah, they did look terrible. They did have some opportunities against an inferior squad. And I'm usually all about Pitt in the ACC in their division, climbing towards the top. But I think it's a tough ask, and the number's kind of creeping up. So I'm going to go a little contrarian here, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line also. So that's my look.
Yeah, you were referring to Tyon Evans. Yeah, you're not as bad as Vandy, Trey Franklin. I'll give you that. You're not at Vandy status yet, Tennessee, but you're still a below-average football team in this conference.
They are. I mean, without question, especially with the first-year coach, and they had a fire sale. You know, when Pruitt left, all those recruits they went to other SEC, high ACC schools. So yeah, it's a fire sale. But this is a gut play for me.
Yeah, they got absolutely raided in the transfer portal as well. This Tennessee team, not very good. Yeah, it's Tyon Evans, by the way, in COVID protocol, starting running back for Tennessee, may not play. I mean, questionable, hasn't been confirmed whether he's in or out yet, but watch out for that. And if they're down him, that's going to put more onus on Milton to do something throwing the football. And he didn't do much throwing the football last week. DJ, what do you like, Pitt, Tennessee?
You know, last year I was high on this Pitt team, and the passing attack that we seen last week is what I was expecting to see last year, but it never really showed around. It had a couple sparks here and there. You know, they're trying to move over the offense to being a little more aggressive. But I like Pitt in that reason, but I think I'm a little late to the party. If I was going to lean on Pitt, I should have been on it right away first game, but I haven't been dug into it like that. And Big Ragoo's on the other side, and he's a smart guy, so I'm not going against Big Ragoo in this one. And like I said, the totals this week, I'm not going to mess around with the totals because this is the week where, you know, all this crazy stuff happens. So I'm gonna stay off of that game. But if I had to take a pick, I'm rolling with my guy, Big Ragoo.
Hey, those guys up there, they're pretty smart too, man.
Yes, yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. All right, we got Battle of Kakalaki coming up now. South and East Carolina next up. We've got South Kakalaki, 2.5-point road favorites, 56.5 the total. East Carolina, man, they just continuously let me down, this team. I mean, last week, all I heard in camp from Mike Houston, the head coach, was, I really like our defense this year. And all I saw last week against App State was the same old defense that got carved up through the air. Chase Bryce even carved them up through the air. I mean, that's how bad it was. You look at it here for this team, just defensively last week, it wasn't good enough. They got ripped on the ground as well. So I bought into East Carolina, took them plus points last week and paid the price for it. I'm not backing them today. They're going to have to show me better defense improvement here today against South Carolina, a Gamecocks team that, you know, is trying to get things turned. Maybe Shane Beamer's the right hire for him, son of Frank, because, you know, look, I don't want to make too much of it. It was an FCS team last week, Eastern Illinois, but it was an absolutely dominant showing by South Carolina in that game. They played well. Zeb Noland, when I heard this, that he was going to be the quarterback, I'm like, is this real life? I mean, this guy had been a grad assistant coach. Now all of a sudden he's a quarterback again, but he looked good. They, of course, and played well last week. Of course, Luke Doty's still been banged up with the foot injury, questionable going into this game. So it's probably going to be Zeb Noland at the quarterback spot again for South Carolina. But yeah, I took ECU last week, paid the price. I'm going to need to see a good showing, a better defensive effort out of them. And I'm going to need to see more from Holton Ahlers, to be honest with you. I mean, very, very inconsistent. He was barely above 50% completions. Most of his yards through the air were in garbage time when they were out of the game already. I'm going to need to see the offense even be a little bit better for East Carolina. So I'm passing. I'm not involved in this game either way. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Southeast Carolina.
Yeah, we'll see what Beamer can do, his son. Yeah, they kind of had the Beamer ball like he talked about. They blocked a couple punts and stuff like that last week against Eastern Illinois. This one's close. I heard a lot of people this week, I just think South Carolina's going to win here. I think the game's close. I'm off it. I stayed away from East Carolina last week. That was one of my last cuts, and they didn't get it done. I just know that defense is bad, and they got beat up by App State. But I think they can score, so I think this is close, and I think these teams are in it. So it's just a close game. I lean over, but it was a pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I don't think they're going to score much, Connor. I think South Carolina's defense is, like you said, Beamer ball too. This guy's like the apple didn't fall far from the tree here. This team's going to be all about defense. Offensively, there's some question marks. I think they're definitely 2.5 points better than East Carolina, even though, you know, they're going to do a little bit of travel here. But it's not going to matter. This is just a class matchup here, talent-wise. I know East Carolina, years gone by, have put some good product, even in the NFL for that matter. But I think today is South Carolina's day. I think the sun's going to shine on their ass, like my boy Big Boss says.
All right,
the sun got
DJ.
to shine on the sun got to shine on the dog's ass someday.
That's right. Today's the day. South Carolina.
I haven't did my homework enough on South Carolina to tell you the truth to really pull a play in this one. But I think ECU played a good App State defense, and we might see better for them this week on offense because it might be a little bit more lax. And I don't know, the jury's still out on the quarterback over there at App State, man. The guy might have a phenomenal season, so I can't certify that he's a bum. And he even got some extra scores on him. But I know I was enthusiastic about ECU starting the year. They started to get year with a solid game, so they got room to bounce back right here. But like I said, the problem with me with this game is I haven't did my homework on South Carolina, so it's a pass.
Yeah, it's been a lot of crazy line movement. Believe it or not, early in the week, East Carolina was a 5-point favorite. So there are some people that ended up South Carolina +5, +4, +3. And now, of course, they're 2.5-point road favorites. So huge move throughout the week on South Carolina in this game. Miami, Ohio, Minnesota. Next game now. Minnesota, 18.5-point home favorites, 55 the total. I don't have a whole lot here on this game. Minnesota, tough loss last week against Ohio State, 45-31. They lose Mohammed Ibrahim for the season. I got to stop calling him Ibrahim. It's Ibrahim. He wants it called pronounced like that. Leg injury for him, obviously out for the year. He was just running all over Ohio State's defense, and that's an absence. That's an impact absence for Minnesota because now you lose a workhorse running back. I'm going to have to wait and see what we get in his spot from Trey Potts. He's the guy that's going to take over now at the running back position. They also have a couple others they might look at, Cam Wiley, Bryce Williams. Tanner Morgan needs a good run game, simple as that. He's not good enough of a quarterback to carry the team passing the football. They need the run game to work. We'll see if it can work now without their incredible running back, Ibrahim, who's out for the year. And I know one thing about Minnesota, guys. I like them in a dog roll. They pushed against the +14 number against Ohio State. I don't like them laying 18.5 usually. Now, the question is, can you back Miami O? That ends up being the question here. Miami O last week against Cincinnati, just outclassed 49-14. But, hey, they went on the road. They played an excellent team to begin the year. Maybe that toughens them up here going into this game against Minnesota. And we'll have to wait and see if maybe that makes them a little bit more competitive here in a game like this because Cincinnati's awesome and Minnesota's a solid team, but they're not Cincinnati. And we'll have to wait and see on that. And by the way, Brett Gabbert, keep an eye on his status for Miami. The quarterback. He was banged up all week long, and his status was up in the air. He is listed as probable as of right now with the injuries that he's dealing with. He's available. But he didn't practice much this week, and it looks like A.J. Mayer is going to start at quarterback here for Miami O. And that's probably going to keep me off Miami O because his numbers against Cincy last week when he came in for Gabbert, 9 for 28, 109 yards. That's not very good. So I'm going to pass on this one. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, this is a pass for me too. I think Minnesota wins the game, but we got to start laying almost 3 touchdowns with the Gophers. That's not a place I want to back them. Miami, Ohio just got blitzed by Cincinnati. They just got their ass whipped. It was 35-0 like that. Yeah, we'll see who's the quarterback. But this was a pass for me. It's too many points. If I knew it was playing quarterback and stuff like that, I might lean with Miami, Ohio because I just don't think Minnesota should be laying this many points, but pass for me all around.
All right, Big Ragoo, what do you like?
It's a pass here. Too many question marks on both sides. One thing that Minnesota will do, they'll play up and down to their opponent's liking, So, like you said, I prefer them in a dog roll versus a favorite. And then Ibrahim gone, that's a huge loss for them. And I'm not going to lay 20 points with this squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And 5 and 6 against the spread, by the way, last 11 against the MAC for Minnesota. So
MAC are Big Ten killers too.
Yeah. DJ, anything here, Miami O, Minnesota?
Hey, despite popular belief, you're going to hear me say this a lot today, is some of these spots you just got to lay the wood because Minnesota, they played a quality opponent week 1 out, and they put up scores on the board and everything. They play a lesser caliber team this week, and they may have a big advantage. And if the books is setting it up that high, trust me, it's not up there for no reason. It's after they got to look at everybody. So expect the book to be a little more sharp this week, and they leading us in the right direction. If you want to jump in this game, I say lay the wood, take Minnesota. It should be a bounce back.
All right, we got Tulsa and Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Oklahoma State 12.5-point home favorites, 51 the total in this game. This is a fascinating matchup right here. Both teams really struggled, last week, I thought. You look at Tulsa, and really had a tough week last week in that game against UC Davis. Ended up losing outright. Can you believe that? As 22.5-point home favorites, 19-17. Lost to UC Davis for Tulsa last week. And look, I'm high on Oklahoma State coming into this year. I like them over their win total and all that. I'm looking at either Oklahoma State or pass in this game. That's an alarming loss for Tulsa. And you remember the quarterback that's starting for them this year, and he started last week, Davis Brin. He came in for a bunch of injuries to the quarterback spot. Remember, Zach Smith and Boomer and all these other guys got hurt. He came in and he actually played well. Davis Brin, and they're like, wow, this guy could be a good quarterback for us if he ever becomes the starter. Well, he won the starting job, and then last week he was terrible in his first start as the number one guy for Tulsa at quarterback. He was awful against UC Davis. So what Davis Brin are we going to get? 15 to 28 passing? That's a terrible completion rate. Oklahoma State's going to get their quarterback returning today, Spencer Sanders. He didn't play last week due to COVID issues. He's back for this game, though, against Tulsa. Just a very alarming loss for Tulsa. I need to see a much better game from them before I'm ready to back them on the road against, I think, an Oklahoma State team that's going to be very good. And Tulsa's defense is still solid, but this could be one of the better defenses Mike Gundy's had at Okie State in years. He's talked about it all summer. He loves this team defensively, so maybe this game stays under the total as well. I would definitely lean a little bit in that direction and lean to the favorite. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Tulsa, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, my guy Platinum Paul with the under. Tulsa's going to get back for their starters that had to sit out because of that brawl. They didn't play in that first game against Davis, but wow, what a shitty loss. I mean, that is horrible to UC Davis. I'm off this one. I lean under, and I don't want to lay the points with Oklahoma State. They're the better team right now. It's just sometimes overreaction, these week twos. Tulsa played really bad. Watch out. They could keep this game close here. So it's just a game I want to watch.
Hey, Ragoo.
Yeah, Tulsa's going to have to get on the rails if they're going to compete. And like Ian said, the Oak State defense, they've been ramping this defense up. They've been trying to get their defense ramped up, and they're right there where they need to be. And they're going to have the firepower on offense with Rattler, and they always have weapons. So I think the number's too low. Actually, I think they get into the high double digits here. I think 3 scores better than Tulsa in this spot. So I'm laying the wood, like my man says, and I'm really confident in this game here.
All right, really, wood is good, hopefully, in this case with Oklahoma State. And I like I failed to mention it, I like the Minnesota game under a little bit as well in that game, and this one as well. I would lean under the total. DJ, what do you think here?
I mean, this game just makes me scream, Cal Davis? Cal Davis? What? I don't. There's no way you can back the Tulsa side. I think they kind of. I don't know why the line is set where it should be. I agree with Big Ragoo. It should be up there a little more. They work more touchdowns than that because Cal Davis? Come on, man. Come on.
Hey,
I think a lot of
we
people
get aberration games, and I don't know, but we'll talk about some of those later when we get into the program.
Yeah, I think that is stunning to see that kind of defeat last week for Tulsa. No question about it. All right, Florida, another one where we had 2 Carolina schools. We got 2 Florida schools here, Florida and South Florida in this next matchup here. We've got right now Florida 28.5-point road favorites. This one in Tampa, 57 the total. So I said coming into this year, and I didn't do this enough last year, I am betting against the absolute worst teams in college football as often and as much as I possibly can. I did that with UMass last week. I did it with South Florida last week against NC State, and they got destroyed by the Wolfpack in that game. I'm laying the lumber here with Florida. Look, I know it was a lackluster game against FAU last week, but FAU is even leaps ahead of where South Florida is right now. This is a complete rebuild job for Jeff Scott. And you would think, hey, at least putting in a guy that played quarterback at North Carolina, Cade Fortin, as your quarterback. He was terrible. He was awful last week against NC State. NC State's got a good team and a good defense, but still not good. I know Emory Jones really kind of had a tough time at last week a little bit, but this is one of those games. They should be able to just line it up, run the football down USF's throat, and be able to just, rip off big chunks of yardage, big gainers on the ground. They're just that bad. Right now, South Florida should be a Florida situation to roll here. I would look to them. This would be one of those games with these big favorites. I usually go first half, full game, kind of like what I did with Coastal. I split, only the full game cashed last night, but I'd still prefer that in case, what if they get up big early and then kind of let their foot off the gas? So that's what I'm going to do. Probably a split bet, first half, full game on Florida. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Florida should just kick their ass here. I didn't lay it, but I'd look first half in this one. South Florida's really, really bad. I mean, it's going to take another couple years so they can get better here. I didn't think Florida – I thought it was a ho-hum effort against FAU last week. I thought they just got by. They're going to take time before they're good, but I didn't lay it, but I'd only look first half in this one if I were to lay the points.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Connor, that's a pretty good look. I like that. I haven't got to the window with this game yet, but I agree with both you and Ian. I think last week was kind of like a practice without pads, so to speak, for the Gators. This week it's like full-on football for them. They're going to sport some new unis today. They're going to look sharp in for remembrance of 9/11. So even though they're playing in Tampa, it's kind of a home game, home game light, if you call it that, because South Florida isn't going to be a factor at all in this spot. So I think they run it up early. So if I lean towards the game, but the first half I might get on that one. I like that look. Do you know what that is, Connor? Did you check the number on that? I'm going to say it's probably going to be 17. I would have to get 16.5.
I have it here.
First half is Florida minus 17, minus 17.
I should have been odds maker too, but anyways, first half Gators lean, strong lean.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, I'm surprised the total's going up because I just don't know how many points South Florida is going to score in this one. I mean, it's up to 57, almost 58 now. I mean, I'm not betting over 58 with South Florida's offense right now. Just not going to do. I would lean under now. What do you think, DJ?
Man, laying wood all Saturday. If you want to play this one, you might as well lay the wood with the big team. It's set so high it can't get no higher. So I just lay the wood or pass.
All right. Next up, we've got Wyoming and Northern Illinois. Very interesting non-conference game here. Wyoming, 4.5-point road favorites, up to 7 now, laying a touchdown on the road here in DeKalb, Illinois here, 44 the total. When I look at this game here, Wyoming to me was a team I really liked in the Mountain West coming into this year. Craig Bowl, a good defense. There was a lot that I liked about Wyoming. Tons of returning production on both sides of the football. They got two quarterbacks now that have been there for a while in Sean Chambers and Levi Williams. Craig Bohl's been going back and forth with both of those guys so they're fine there. They've got experience, stability there. And I think they're better than Northern Illinois. And I think the betting markets are kind of telling you fool's gold last week, Northern Illinois, with that upset against Georgia Tech, which was stunning. And maybe Georgia Tech's not ready to get better this year, which I kind of thought they would. But Northern Illinois, I think they had to play a solid game. That was more about Georgia Tech shooting themselves in the foot in that game, Northern Illinois getting that upset win. I think now a huge win on the road against an ACC team and now at home. And yet everybody's, after a big upset like that, you'd think, hey, people are infatuated with Northern Illinois now. No. This has been a one-way move toward Wyoming, and I fully agree with it. I think they're the better team. I think that's a one-off upset for Northern Illinois. I still think this team is an average to slightly below average MAC team, believe it or not, even after the win. They need to convince me. They need to put 2 good games in a row together before I change, in my opinion, and say, whoa, Northern Illinois, all of a sudden, look out for them. No, I need to see it again. I lean to the road favorite here. I think the money's right. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I was shocked with Northern Illinois. I mean, Lombardi did just what he had to do, played okay. I don't think he's any good. I think Wyoming, I think this is an under, even at the number. It's right around 44. And I lean Wyoming, even though it's gone up to the touchdown. I don't love that. And I just don't like Chambers. This guy, he's been there forever. He's he's got to show more. He's just one of those quarterbacks. It's like, come on, shows flashes, and then he looks horrible. Wyoming just needs to run it down their throat. I think their defense is pretty good, and just keep running it. And I think they win this game. And like I said, I'd lean under.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yep. We always think Wyoming unders when they play their games, but Northern Illinois, I don't know. They just I think in this spot, they might get a little value here. Believe it or not, I think the game's going to play a lot closer, and the total is going to indicate that with the 44. I really don't see. I don't see a blowout by Wyoming. I mean, it's only 3.5 or 6.5 points. I come up with about a 3.5 number on the game, so I show a little lean towards Northern Illinois plus the points. I think it plays closer than. I don't think Wyoming's a touchdown better. I think they're probably a field goal, maybe 4 points better here.
All right, DJ.
Well, in the Mountain West, that's why I do it the best. And this Wyoming team didn't show up on offense at all. I mean, they did pull the game off, but even they had these same two dual quarterbacks for a while, and they getting kind of the same results. And I don't think they put that together at all. I watched a little film of the coach. He speaks that there's a lot to work on, and I agree. There's a lot to work on the offensive side. Now, the defensive side, they play some superhuman, extra physical defense, and that should be a shock to NIU coming from their side of the conferences over here to this Wyoming football. And I can see why the books gave them the 7, but I agree with Big Ragoo as well. Like, I just don't trust them by that many points. Like, they're going to struggle to put touchdowns up, period. Unless the defense comes in and scores, 2 times or, put them in good field position range for some scores. Unless that happens, it's going to be tough for them on offense. And this coach over here, Hammock at NIU, this is his 3rd year here. He's changing the culture over there little bit by little bit. Maybe he really is the truth. Maybe he's getting better. Maybe he got his troops lined up. So they got a shot as well. So in this one with the 7 between I like the under as well, as Conor said. Like I said, they're gonna play defense. It's gonna take a while for NIU to figure it out. They're not gonna be used to that, and Wyoming will struggle on offense. So it's a good look to take the under right there. But give me those 7 points in my pocket, and I'm gonna take NIU.
All right, lean into the home dog. I mean, both of these, like you're right, Wyoming just wasn't very impressive. I look at that, their top 15 tacklers returning, and I think of Rocky Lombardi on the other side for Northern Illinois, and I'm like, how's he going to move the football if Wyoming's defense is locked in today? So, yeah, the under makes sense. It's down to 44, but the total is that low for a reason, no question. All right, next up, Rutgers-Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Rutgers, 2-point road favorites, 51 the total in this one. I'm on Rutgers again. I think they're a bet-on team. I thought they would win. I thought they'd go 3-0 to start the year. I thought they'd beat Temple. They did. I think they can beat Syracuse. Look, Syracuse had when you look at their game last week against Ohio, give them credit. Definitely went better for them than I thought it would. But still, the Syracuse team, when I look at it, not exactly a team that firmly impresses me by any stretch of the imagination. Look, Sean Tucker was terrific running the football last week for Syracuse, but I don't think he's going to run with that same effectiveness against Rutgers. Rutgers has a good defensive front. The one thing I noticed against Temple last week, they blew up the line of scrimmage. I mean, they made DeJuan Mathis, the quarterback for Temple, his life tough. They basically didn't stop the run. They didn't give up much in terms of pass game. It was a very good defensive front effort and forced a bunch of turnovers. And you think of Syracuse with this bad offensive line, which is still not great, and still a work in progress. And could Rutgers eat along the line of scrimmage with that defensive front? I think they've got the potential to do that. This is a game where we think Dino Babers and fast pace, but he slowed it down a little bit. He knows he doesn't have a great O-line. He doesn't have a great quarterback, doesn't have great skill position talent. He's actually got to look to win games by running the football and playing defense. It's a different type of Syracuse. So that's why this total is 51. You think Syracuse, Dino Babers, how can the total be that low? That's how it can be that low. Look, I know there was a lot of turnovers. +6 in turnovers for Rutgers. They only outgained Temple by 104 yards, but sometimes you're just a good defense and are able to force those turnovers. I think Rutgers is, again, I wouldn't want to lay more than a field goal with them, but just asking them to win the game, I think they can do that. And Schiano, in just a year and a game, an incredible job here with this program. Connor, what do you think? Rutgers, Syracuse?
Yeah, I lean Rutgers. I think they can go in there and win. I didn't bet it. This Syracuse team, I don't think they're very good. They won last week. I don't think DeVito's very good. So, yeah, I'm with you. I lean Rutgers. I think they got to get another win here. But Syracuse has at home. They haven't had their home fans, in a couple years there. They will today. Just the game I didn't love. I'd lean Rutgers, especially getting under the 3, but it was a pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Hey, the books are hanging at 2.5 out there like a carrot for the Rutgers lovers. Yeah, everybody loving on Rutgers. Now, Syracuse, they're not world beaters, and we know they've had offensive line struggles with DeVito winding up on his back more times than upright. But they did play a decent game last week, like Ian said. I think the O-line worked a little better together. I don't know. I know Rutgers has got like +5 in the takeaway department, and they're probably going to try to feast today off of that. But I don't know. I think they're going to turn off the AC in the Carrier Dome today and make Rutgers sweat just a little bit, and maybe the ball bounce Syracuse way one or two times more. I'm going to lean Syracuse at home plus the points just because of the number and circumstances.
Oh, yeah, it's not a gimme or a layup game for Rutgers. It's still Rutgers, laying a small number on the road. Are they ready for that now, going on the road? But Syracuse, to me, we know is just not looking like they're going to be very good this year. DJ, what do you like here, Rutgers, Syracuse?
It's a game that I will be off on, but this Rutgers team, man, this could be a big spot for a recency bias right here with last week's game. Lots of turnovers. Like, you can't even cap turnovers like that going into a game, expecting a team to actually get multiple turnovers. Like, that's big. But the Syracuse team, a work in progress. I like to go over on that Syracuse mat. It seems like they run fast on that one, so I would lean to the over in this one. But I don't know if the Scarlet Knights could come in there and handle business. We might be getting a case of Scarlet Fever going around, because the way that the defense flew around the field last week, they could be real. But it'd be a good game to watch and see. Hey, is this Rutgers team real? And what's really going on with the Syracuse team and they transition in their offense?
All right, this is your classic potential letdown scenario in this game. Middle Tennessee State and Virginia Tech. Will it come to fruition here? Virginia Tech, 20-point home favorites, 54 the total. Virginia Tech, what an atmosphere that was in their win against North Kakalaki last Friday night. Enter Sandman at Lane Stadium, crowd going nuts. It was a great atmosphere, and Virginia Tech fed off it. Played a good game. Even Braxton Burmeister played a solid enough game, but they ran the football. Their defense was the story. For them to shut down and harass and force Sam Howell into all those mistakes and turnovers and sack him multiple times, that was a serious defensive effort by Va Tech. But can they crank it up all over again now? Laying 20, Middle Tennessee, non-conference game, a middling Conference USA team coming in. Bailey Hockman, by the way, is the quarterback now for MTSU, NC State transfer. So we know he's seen this team before because of all his time in the ACC. We'll see if that helps Virginia Tech, or if it helps Middle Tennessee's offense, I should say, here in this one. It was an incredible defensive game. Middle Tennessee beat up on Monmouth, who aren't a great FCS team. Let's keep that in mind. We'll have to wait and see. Hockman was all right, but it was more of the run game working. And from a matchup standpoint, I don't know if the run game is going to work for Middle Tennessee here against Virginia Tech. So that's the one thing that's keeping them from taking the points. I lean Blue Raiders. This is a terrible spot on paper for the Hokies, but I don't know if the matchup works well enough, and I don't know if Hockman's a good enough, adept enough passer as a quarterback if the run game is shut down to make it happen through the air. So I lean to Middle Tennessee, but I actually was hoping for at least 3 touchdowns as well. Didn't get it. So I lean MTSU, but I don't think I'm going to bet it. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's a pass. Virginia Tech you talked about it. That game all hyped up, made Sam Howell throw a bunch of interceptions. Defense played well. Burmeister did what he had to do. He wasn't over the great. You talked about Hawkman. I can't lay the points with Virginia Tech. This seems like, just a letdown game. Could be slow to go, especially early. They should win by 3 touchdowns, but right at that number, this was an easy pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean towards Middle Tennessee in the first half, if anything. Like you said, I think they're going to come out a little slow here. Plus, next week they got to go to West Virginia. I'm not saying they're going to look ahead here, but that's usually an out-of-conference rival game that they get involved with. So maybe they come out of the gate a little bit slow here, but I won't get to the window either way. I would lean Middle Tennessee, maybe plus 11 in the first half.
Yeah, in some of these situations where it's a letdown spot, you want to think about taking the big dog. A lot of times they can hang. They get the big favorite to sleeping early, but they just don't move the ball well enough on offense, and eventually they wear down, and the favorite still ends up covering. I'm kind of worried that could happen in this game here. That's why I'm not getting MTSU. DJ, anything you like here? Oh, you're muted, my friend.
We could have been looking at a really bad North Carolina team last week. That's what it probably really boiled down to. And that doesn't mean that this Virginia Tech team could be this many points better than Middle Tennessee. So, and I've been speaking the land of wood all day, but this one could be a big misconception right here. They did look awesome. Like, they played immaculate on the field. I loved it. But at the same time, that North Carolina team could be way overhyped for the season, and that's what we could have got right there. So it could be a backdoor recovery right here. So if I would lay something, I would take Middle Tennessee for the long haul.
All right, Toledo and Notre Dame next up here. Notre Dame on a short week after playing Monday night in that barn burner against Florida State down there in Tally, Big Ragoo's neck of the woods there. Notre Dame, 17-point home favorites here, 55.5, 56 the total in this game. I was impressed with Jack Cohn. I'll be honest. I mean, I did not see that coming. He was terrific throwing the football. What can you say? Almost 400 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. He was terrific. And if he's doing that to Florida State on the road, he can probably have success here against Toledo. Not the greatest secondary, and I think Jack Cohn and Notre Dame can have success throwing the football. Toledo on offense, we know very good on that side of the football. Carter Bradley, dual threat quarterback, leading them at the quarterback position. And it's going to have to be something where, on a short week that could be challenging. And look, there's some defensive injuries that are starting to mount for Notre Dame. There's also a lot of key losses, personnel losses on that side of the football from the Notre Dame team a year ago. Bottom line is, you can see where I'm going. I kind of lean Toledo here plus the points, but it seems everybody's taken a lot of the value out of that, but I still lean a little to the points. But more than anything, I like over the total, and I totally agree with the total going up 52 to 56. They're going to move the football quite well. Notre Dame's defense has more than enough holes that a very, very sound, solid Toledo team offensively, I think, can do damage there as well and get some points of their own. So I think the game goes over this mid-50s total. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, this one should be interesting. Just coming off that big, OT win. Notre Dame, like I said in the past, these few years, they're not that team at home anymore. They can struggle at home. So I think Toledo can score on them. I think Notre Dame can score all over Toledo. I don't think their defense is very good. I'm with you. I lean the over, even at 55 here a bit. I think Toledo, plus those points, it's gone down. I lean that way with the points here in this one. I think Notre Dame will do whatever they want here. But it could be lazy early. I don't know. It could be a little flat early.
All right, Big Ragoo, what do you think? Toledo, Notre Dame?
My only concern with this game was how tired is Notre Dame after, like you said, they play that rough game with FSU up and down the field, and they did get torched. But, hey, FSU's had athletes, so, it was a well-deserved win by Notre Dame, and I'm sure they're going to move forward in this spot too. So I think Notre Dame, I'm with Conor. I think they're going to have their way on the field offensively. I think the over is a solid look too. But I'm on Notre Dame minus the 16.5, and I'm also have a strong lean on the over.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. That's why I like the total more, because I think Notre Dame could score 5 or 6 touchdowns in this game against Toledo. I really think they can. It's going to be a question of, and I think Toledo, though, can contribute, and there's your high 50s, I
I think
think.
they'll get 3. I think they'll win by 3 touchdowns, but I think Toledo's going to put like 20 points, high teens, high mid-20s, and Notre Dame's going to put the 40s up.
All right, DJ, this is his squad. These are his boys here, Notre Dame. What do you think?
I just got this in the mail. Thanks, Ragoo. Florida State, thanks. Appreciate it. But if you go back to last week's show on Notre Dame, I think I hit it on the nail. Tommy Rees coming in as the offensive coordinator. He's calling in the pass way more often. The running game didn't really work for us last week too much, and we really relied on the pass. Game would have stayed under, though, if it didn't go into overtime. But at the same time, we've been pass heavy. Another one that I had last week was about the quarterback, Cohen. Even though he stunk up the field and played for Wisconsin, Kelly's a smart guy. He's bringing him over there because he sees another side of him, or something else he could do. But as long as he sticks to the strip and listen to what Kelly tell him and keep delivering the ball where he tells him to deliver the ball, and he'll be all right. But as soon as he gets a mind of his own and he want to start running around, throwing across his body and all that kind of stuff, then we doomed. So I don't know. And you hear me talk about this. I don't know if it's Notre Dame's duty to beat this team by 20 points. That's not a part of our forte. We at home. We just trying to get the win, protect the house. So I don't know about laying all those points with Notre Dame, but everybody is spot on with the over all day. But here's the secret one. Here's the secret one. Take notes. Listen to me closely. If your book offers the first quarter over, I see it right here at 6.5. First quarter over, easy one. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Most sports books, you can bet first quarter totals. This game is first quarter total of 11.5 right now is what we're looking at with the first quarter total.
There we go. So, yeah, yep. Take that over, though. Notre Dame is going to score a touchdown in the first quarter, almost guaranteed at home. So you'll just be waiting for what happens to the second one. But first quarter, smash that over.
Yeah, I know people gave Brian Kelly and people in the chat are mentioning it. People gave Brian Kelly grief for what he said in the post game last week. That was just the old John McKay, the inaugural head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise in the 70s, saying, "What did you think of your team's execution? I'm all for it." That was the exact line. It's actually one of the best lines I've ever heard from a head coach. After
good ones.
That's a good one.
Some good ones.
I loved it, man. I loved it 100%. And everybody know, they say inside that Kelly's like he's that guy too. Like he gets on his players real tough. He demands that type of respect and stuff. So it goes right along with football for me. I'm not falling into the modern day. That his kids. His team is like his kids. Like
he didn't literally mean he wanted them dead. I mean, that's what people acted like. Come on,
come on. Yeah, it's football. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just it's insane. But I mean, it was off the cuff. The problem is he bungled and he botched the delivery when he was trying to say it. I mean, that's the thing. It was not a smooth delivery of that line that he was after the loss to or after the narrow win, I should say, against Florida State last week. All right, we move on now. Purdue and UConn. Purdue 34.5-point road favorites, 57 the total. UConn is just god awful, just hideous. They're right there as one of the worst, if not the worst teams. New Mexico State, South Florida, UConn. Put them in a hat. They're all in the same group. Randy Edsall retiring after the second game. He's already had enough. That tells you all you need to know. What does that say to the kids? That the head coach would say, "Hey, you know what? Things suck here, but I'm out of here. You guys deal with it." I mean, what's that say to the kids? I mean, seriously. I mean, talk about Randy Edsall to me. I mean, it's been disastrous for him, really, ever since that first stint at UConn. I'm even still amazed he could be at a good run the first time around with UConn. But look, the offense is just very, very spotty. They have two quarterbacks. Neither one is any sort of consistent passer. The defense is absolutely awful. So the question is, can you lay 34.5? I think you can. I know Purdue was a little bit rough last week against Oregon State, but this is get well time. Their offense can still, with Jeff Brom, a good offensive-minded head coach, can overwhelm this team. This is a Purdue smash spot for me, even at this number. First half, full game, I'm on Purdue here both ways. Conor Mac, what do you think, Purdue, UConn?
Yeah, it's Purdue or nothing else. I mean, it's getting tough. You lose by 10 to Holy Cross. I mean, man, it's rough. Yeah, I know. It's just crazy to think Purdue laying 34 points, but there's just no other way here. I either lay with them, go first half, or just pass on this one.
All right, Big Ragoo.
What can you say? You guys said enough.
Yeah.
34 points. That's a lot to lay, but pretty soon the books are not going to be able to give enough points to these teams, these shitty teams. And we're talking Alabama type numbers, here. So anyways, I probably won't bet it. As a matter of fact, I know I'm not going to bet it, but good luck to you guys betting it. I hope you win.
All right, DJ, Purdue, UConn.
Hey, I don't want to have nothing to do with UConn or none of that for the rest of the year. Like, sure, you think Kelly telling these kids was that bad? He's a absentee father on his kids, man. Why would he do this team like that? That's even worse to me. That should be stoned right there. But yeah, I stay away from UConn for the rest of the season.
Hey, he resigned. He said he was going to resign at the end of the year. I said no, thank you. Go down. See you.
I mean, that's a bitch move. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it like it is. It's a bitch move by Randy Edsall. Dude, retire at the end of the year. Stick it out for this year like the kids are. Right. You just abandon ship on them. That's a freaking cheap, despicable bitch move right there by Randy Edsall. Randy Edsall. It's exactly what it is. Terrible by him to do it right now. Just suck it up and man up and get through the year, and then you can retire if you want. Boston College and UMass next up. We've got Boston College 37.5, 38-point road favorites, 57 the total in this one. Again, this is just like the last game. I cannot endorse UMass. They didn't cover somehow against Pitt last week. Shows you how bad things are with this UMass team. And they don't even have their number one quarterback today. He's out, Tyler Lytle. The Colorado transfer. So that's an issue here for UMass going into this game. So they've got all of a sudden turned to a quarterback that's rarely, if ever, taken a snap. And now you got to play Boston College, a pretty solid ACC team. Yeah, have fun with that. Favorite or pass for me. Conor Mac, go ahead.
Same thing. I mean, BC, Jerkovich, you could throw it around. They beat Colgate 50-0. I think this is similar. Like you said, Lytle, he's out at QB. Yeah, it's favorite or pass here. BC. Favorite
or pass. First half for full game. Once again, that's the way I would go here on Boston College. And I like Phil Jerkovic. I think he's a pretty solid quarterback. And their defense is improving. And I like Jeff Hafley. Done a good job in just 2 years here at BC. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
I don't think UMass is going to score a point in this game, possibly. I mean,
I know.
If the team is worse than Connecticut, this team might be it. But I don't know. It'd be a good game if UMass, went over to Connecticut and played each other. Maybe then we'd have a game. But anyways, I got no look on this game. Maybe a team total for UMass under, maybe under 7 or 10 or something like that. That's what I lean on.
Team total, yeah.
I come up with.
All right, DJ.
Hey, I talked about laying the wood this Saturday, but I don't wake up with a hard on to lay 38 points with Boston College. So I'm good. I'll pass on that one.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, we move on now to Georgia Southern and Florida Atlantic. Finally, a competitively lined game after the last two. We've got Florida Atlantic 6.5, 7-point home favorites, 48 the total in this game. Florida Atlantic struggled run defense last week. That's the immediate thing that stands out to me because guess what Georgia Southern is? Triple option team. And you're definitely, I think, you worry about that for Florida Atlantic. Leaky run defense. Georgia Southern coming into this game. We'll see how it goes for them. But I think from a matchup standpoint, there's things to like with the matchup here for Georgia Southern. Again, I'm not big on Willie Taggart as a head coach, laying points with him after a big rivalry game against the big brother in state Florida. I think there's reasons to like the dog here. Georgia Southern Eagles getting a touchdown. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Me too. You talked about it. FAU struggled with the run. They've struggled with Georgia Southern the last few years. So I think the 7 points, I think this game's close. You could even sprint, put a little on the money line with Georgia Southern. I think this game's tight.
Big Ragoo.
I was hoping to get a lean towards the under with the 48. I don't like the mid-40s. I'd rather lay an under with 42, 41, something like that, than 47, 48, believe it or not. But 400 yards against the Gators on the ground they gave up. I mean, Georgia Southern's going to know what they're going to do coming in, evidently. And then N'Kosi Perry, a little bit of struggle there with get the passing game going. So I'm not locked in on this game. It's going to be a pass. I only have a lean on here. But if you put a gun in my head, I'd probably say lean towards the dog.
All right, DJ.
I definitely like Georgia Southern a lot in this spot right here, but once again on this one, I haven't really did my homework on FAU, so before I could lock that in, I probably have to do a little more research. I was hoping Big Ragoo had some Florida secrets for me right here, but I guess not.
I mean, the Gators toyed with them on the run last week, and that's why they didn't, put the big numbers up. So they a lot of ground control, but they'll get chunk plays. I'm sure Georgia Southern will get chunk plays in this game. Probably the right side.
Already a touchdown on the board for Virginia. Brennan Armstrong with an early touchdown strike to lead Illinois first couple minutes of that game. So we've already got points on the board in college football today. All right, next up we've got Air Force and Navy. Service Academy battle, of course, Commander-in-Chief trophy. This goes a long way to winning that. We've got Air Force 6.5 point road favorites. 45 was the total. It's 40. And look, if you got on the under early, I hope you did. It's the only play to make when it comes to the total in these games, whether it's Air Force, Navy, Army, Navy, Army, Air Force. It's just both teams run the football. Both teams can simulate these offenses in practice every week. And you get lots of lower scoring games. In fact, coming into this game here, we've got a situation where the under is like on the under is cashed in like 38 of the last 50 games between service academy schools. Like it is an incredible clip to the under with regardless of whether it's Army, Navy, Navy Air Force, or Army Air Force. These teams just play low-scoring games. They know each other inside and out. So as far as the side goes, I do think Air Force is a decent amount better than Navy, but I'm never comfortable laying points in the service academy matchups because Navy gets up for this. Like Navy's not going to be a good team this year, but are they going to be up to play Air Force? You better believe it. So I'm not comfortable laying 6. I lean to them because I think they're the better team, maybe by a lot, but not ready to lay 6. The under I like, but man, the people have gotten to that already. 45, it's now 40, but I don't want the over here, not at all. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, the under's gotten pounded. That's the way to go. Everybody's just going to both chew up clock. Air Force is the better team, but you're right. I don't think Navy's very good. There's something about it. I don't want to lay the 6 with Air Force. That's where I'd go. But this one, it could be real close. I don't know, 19, 16, some bullshit like that. So I lean Air Force, but it was a pass.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean taking as bad as Navy's going to be this year, just because of the way the game sets up, like Ian says. And I would normally be all like I just told Conor that I wouldn't mind. I'm not scared to lay like unders and 40s and 41s, and I just stuck my foot in my mouth, but I'm going to have to back it up. So I'm going to lean under the 40 points, even though the value is gone. It still might get under the total. And if you like under, you gotta like Navy here.
Yeah, that's the way I think I would go. DJ.
Oh man, my guy Nolly Nose told me a story a long time ago. It was kind of funny. He said a guy told him to give him a pick. He said, "Look here, I give you a pick for 2022. Army Navy under." And that's under in these games. Like you can either under's the spot. If you're any type of sports bettor, you probably should know this. If you don't already know it, go research it if you like. You don't have to believe us, but under is definitely the play in this game. As far as the side, though, Mountain West being I went through this Air Force team. The key to Air Force having a really successful season is how well they throw the ball in those 3rd and 8s and when they have to put that ball up there. And the quarterback situation that they got going on over there right now, it's like the same as it was before. So they're going to go right back to running the ball. 3rd and 8s may end up not, converting. But I wouldn't take the side. There's too much value on the under traditionally. So under a pass.
Yeah, so Zeke Daniels, who has got some ability to throw. We'll see how he fares, but we'll see if Air Force does seem like the better team. I lean to them laying the points, but don't love laying points, like I said, in these Service Academy games. Ball State, Penn State. We got Penn State, 22-point home favorites, 58 the total in this one. You can give Penn State all the credit in the world for winning that game last week. I'm not going to give them too much credit. They did enough. They did what they had to win. But Wisconsin moved the ball up and down the field throughout that game against Penn State, and they kept shooting themselves in the foot. Turnovers, penalties, missed kicks, the whole bit. Everything. Wisconsin did everything they could. Once they got inside Penn State territory, they just unraveled. And look, Penn State hit on a couple of big passing plays from Sean Clifford against a secondary that had some breakdowns in coverage, and that was the game right there. It was a much needed big win for Penn State, but I don't think it was as impressive as some people think. Wisconsin kind of gift wrapped them and say, hey, here you go. We're going to make enough mistakes that you can just win the game. And this is the ultimate James Franklin spot where his team has a nice game, a nice win, and they come back the next week, they're life and death. It wouldn't surprise me here. I like the points with the underdog. Ball State, MAC champions last year, Drew Plitt, senior quarterback, good offense. Mike New, the head coach, has had this team really play good offense. The back door is going to be open because this team can flat out move the ball. They've got 5 offensive line starters all back from last year, a great receiving core, Justin Hall leading a great receiving core, good running backs. I think this game's also high scoring. Over the total makes sense. The over's already been hit, but Ball State plays up-tempo, good offense, sometimes a shaky defense. Penn State played very fast. They played up-tempo last week, which was surprising. They don't always do that. I think we see points. I like the over, and I think we've got a dog that can hang within this number in a bad spot too, because not only off the Wisconsin win, Auburn on deck next week for Penn State. I think the underdog can hang in this game. Conor Mac, what do you think? Ball State, Penn State.
I think so too, but I'm not going to bet it. I think this one's kind of close. Like they cover here by 24 or 30, or that back door could be open. So I'm not going to bet it, but I do lean towards the over. I think Penn State will score what they want, and Ball State should be able to score a little bit. I'm not going to bet it here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, my numbers come out pretty close to what the books have. It's going to be like a 3 or 4 point differential, either with the total or the score. So, like you say, Ball State can hang in there. They got Penn State coming off that game. They did give up some yardage. They gave up some looks. That was Wisconsin's game to lose last week. I think Ball can hang, but I'm not sold 100% either way. So it's a pass for me.
Our boy behind the scenes here, Jose. I have a friend who coaches defense for Ball State, so I am on the Cardinals. There you go. Valid reason. There you go. Good handicapping angle there. Friend on the team. Bet said team. Yep. All right, good stuff. DJ, what do you like here?
Penn State is what a pesty team, right? When you want to count them out, they fire back up. When you finally get a chance to trust them, they play the worst game of the season. Not a team that I really like taking unless they get in major points. In a spot like this, who knows what could happen? Like, we sitting over here debating the 22 points. They could beat them by 40, or they could lose the outright. So I'm off, just because it's Penn State.
Yeah. All right, next game on the slate here as we continue to roll on. By the way, over 200 live viewers. We appreciate it. Hit the like button. Everybody in the chat, thank you very much. Next up, we've got, as we continue along, Temple and Akron. Wow, talk about lesser of two evils. You got to pick your poison in this game. Temple, do you want to lay points with them, or do you want to take Akron? Temple 6.5, 52 the total in this game. And by the way, Temple will not have their quarterback this week. DeJuan Mathis, he got injured last week against Rutgers and did not return in that game. So it's Justin Lynch likely going to be the starting quarterback here. Money coming in. Look, Temple was don't be fooled by 61-14. They had a lot of turnovers. They actually moved the ball at times against Rutgers. It wasn't as lopsided as that score would indicate based on the stats. But I'm still not rushing to lay 6.5 with Temple on the road with now a new quarterback in there who wasn't good enough to win the job initially in camp. Lynch is a dual threat. He can run a little bit, so let's see if he can make plays with his legs. But this is just a tough. I'd lean over slightly because I don't think much of these two teams defensively at all could get over 52. I think we could. I would lean over the total side. I want no part of either side, so lean to the over. Conor Mac, Temple, Akron.
Yeah, I just couldn't lay the points with Temple. But these are two bad teams and two bad defenses where I think both teams could score. I'm on the over here. I think it gets up and over 52.5.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean first half Temple, 14 points. I mean, I'm sorry, for the team total. I was just looking that up. 14.5 points Temple, -105 first half.
All right, leaning toward Temple in the first half. 14-0 Virginia. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for Brennan Armstrong and the Cavaliers. So hot start for them against Illinois. DJ, what do you think here?
This game screams bum fight. And I mean, two teams that both gave up 60 points last week. How do you go in there and choose a side? Only bum fighting rule number 101 is take the home team. So I had to take the home dog in this one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I actually would lean home dog too, but I don't know if I can take them. UAB and Georgia, interesting one here. Next up, Georgia, 23-point home favorites, 44 the total in this one. There's a lot of issues with Georgia. Let's start with the quarterback situation. JT Daniels, he's out for this game, or doubtful. I don't expect he's going to play. So you're looking at Carson Beck, likely going to be the starting quarterback. Stetson Bennett, of course, has been around here for a while. He has experience, but not great experience in terms of performance. So I would hope it's Carson Beck if you're a Georgia fan. Give him a chance at least, because Stetson Bennett never impressed me. So it doesn't look like JT Daniels. It's not a severe injury, but they want to keep him healthy for future games in the SEC schedule after that big win against Clemson. Then you factor in the spot, right? The big win against Clemson, huge win. Georgia finally wins a big game, and now you're laying a bunch of points, and you're in this one the very next week, and you're not facing a nobody. You're facing a solid UAB team, very well coached under Bill Clark, very solid defense. Tyler Johnston at quarterback, I think, continues to get better. He's now in his final year here at UAB. I thought they played very well against Jacksonville State. And Jacksonville State's not a terrible FCS team. So UAB playing that well last week was impressive. There's no way I can endorse the favorite. The only question is, can UAB score enough, against a Georgia defense that, man, they look like the best defense in the country with the way they played against Clemson last week. So that's the only concern here. Does UAB score enough to cover this number? But for me, it would be Blazers or pass getting the points. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, can they score? I mean, Clemson, 3 points. We all thought that wouldn't have been a problem all year, that Clemson offense. I lean under and UAB if I had a free bet. I don't know how much, the quarterback with Daniels, they'll be able to move it a little bit, but UAB's solid. So I just lean under. And if I had to take the points, I'd grab them with UAB.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, there's going to be recency bias on the line, even with the quarterback injury, just on the talent level. But like you say, UAB, there's a lot of talent on that side of the ball too. They play solid football, and whether they're going to be able to put up against the Georgia D, and that remains the story. I mean, 45. I think the number is 45 on the total. So maybe, like I said, I would lean, if anywhere, I'd lean towards the under, because I don't think Georgia wants to go out and impress this game. I think they have South Carolina next week at home. So not that they're looking past UAB by no stretch of the imagination, but they're going to play just enough football to kind of, I would say, game manager type football, situational type football, not to blow anybody out. So I would lean both the under and maybe UAB in this spot.
Yeah, it's a low total, 44, but for me, it would be only the under if I were to bet the total. DJ, what do you think?
Well, if you like Georgia and their win last week, which was very impressive, you might want to stay on them right here. The books know what they're doing. They put the line up there a little bit. This could be a smooth running blowout for them if they're that team this year. Like each year, we always looking at Georgia to see if they can get over the hump in the SEC. Coming out, playing tough game and beating Sweeney and Clemson, that shows they could be leaning in the right direction. So if you advocate Georgia, lay the wood, hop on them now. You should have fun today. But I'm not gonna put too much into this UAB team. Yeah, they tough, they play well, but they're playing up a little class here. These guys are a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, and the whole quarterback with JT Daniels, like he had some injuries last year. They ran with the backups before. The quarterback's job over there is not to throw 30-yard bombs or nothing like that. They got a system over there that works. So I would trust in the system and take Georgia and lay the wood if I was an advocate of Georgia like that. And I'm kind of leaning to see if this is the year. I mean, that was gridiron football they played last weekend. So I don't know, one to watch right here, but I lean laying the wood and taking Georgia.
All right, leaning. Yeah, they look very impressive, and so impressive that I lean UAB, but I don't think I'm going to end up pulling the trigger. California and TCU. We've got TCU 11.5 point home favorites, 46.5 the total in this one. TCU's been a lousy home favorite. for a long time now. I'm not ready to lay double digits, but then what do we know about TCU? They played Duquesne last week. That's not saying much. That's not a great FCS team. Cal, I know they lost to Nevada, but I think Nevada's a very good football team this year. I don't think there's anything to say that that's terrible. Now, we do have issues with the offense. After the first 2 drives, they did nothing against Nevada last week. Chase Garbers turned into Chase Garbage again, and the offense didn't do anything after that. So that's the one concern. And look, TCU defense could be good, but Cal's good against the run. TCU wants to run the football. Max Duggan's an okay throwing quarterback, but he's more an athletic, dual threat running quarterback as well. I think that's what's preferred. I think they match up okay with TCU, this Cal defense. Can they score enough's the question, but I'm liking Cal here a little bit, plus the 11.5 in this one. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Cal's defense will be in this one. And you talked about how bad TCU's laying points like this at home over the past few years. It's pretty ugly. I'd only be on Cal in that. Man, I hate backing Garbers, our old guy Garbage, but I think Cal's defense could keep it close. So I'd be on the points here if I had to take it.
All right, Big Ragoo, what do you like here?
This game's an under a pass. I lean under. I got about a 6-point value to the under.
Yep.
So the way both styles set up, like
I agree.
They're not double-digit favorites anyway, but the question mark is going to be on the Cal's offense. And if it's a question mark there to start off with, go to the under.
All right, DJ.
Hey, this game has underwritten all over it. Besides knowing exactly what we're going to get out of TCU, another streaky, pesky team right here. When you want them to lay down, they stand up. When you want them to stand up, they lay down. So, but this California defense is for real. They for real. So they on the road, and all they really got is their defense because the offense needs plenty of work. So I expect them to come in, slow the game down, play their defense and try to lock these guys up. So even capping the cappers in this chat we got right here, got to take the under in this one.
All right, liking the under. Buffalo, Nebraska. Nebraska 14-point home favorites, 54.5 the total. Nebraska's taking money here. I guess that Fordham win last week got everybody back on the bandwagon, huh? For Nebraska. Now we're going to be comfortable laying 14. You guys might, or whoever's betting them up here might be. I'm not. In fact, I'm interested in the Buffalo side at plus. And I know I said I've got issues with Buffalo, but Buffalo last week against I know it was Wagner. It was an FCS squad. That was impressive. They just put it on Wagner last week, and the defense was terrific. And you give me at least a decent Buffalo defense, and I'm all of a sudden going to say, watch Adrian Martinez screw up again, because that's sometimes what he can do here. And I know they lost a ton of pieces, new coaching staff too, because Leopold went to Kansas. But I'm no way interested in laying 2 touchdowns with Nebraska. I'd look to Buffalo now, especially getting plus 14. And the over does make sense here because Buffalo, I think, can move it. Still a solid ground game. Van Treese is a veteran, experienced quarterback. And Nebraska can still defense. They're still very leaky a little bit on that side of the ball. I would lean over the total. I would lean Buffalo here, plus the points. What do you think, Conor Mac?
You said it. There's just no way that this line's moved, to 2 touchdowns in Nebraska. There ain't no way in hell. I laid 2 touchdowns with the Nebraska team. I think Buffalo can cover, and there will be points. Buffalo will give it up to Nebraska, but Buffalo will be able to score on them, so over as well.
All right, Big Ragoo.
It's a dead over. I got 65 points in my power ratings. I'm going to take the 10-point plus value and jump on the over here. I'm getting to the window with that.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of people agreeing because this total's gone up from 52 to 54.5. So a good move there with the total. Yeah, DJ, what do you think?
60s easily.
I lean Buffalo and taking the points. Scott Frost and this Nebraska team, they got a lot to prove, man. This guy may be on the way out the door. Those fans there in Nebraska, though, they brutal. It's a home game right here. They really expecting them to win. So I would. It's really a stay off. But if I were to play it, I'd take the points.
Texas A&M, Colorado. We've got A&M 17-point road favorites in Boulder, 50 the total. I don't think very highly of Colorado this year. I think they were a little fluky to be as good as they were last year. They won a lot of turnover battles. They won a lot of close games. I don't think they're as good. I don't want to back Colorado here against this A&M team, but after what I saw at A&M last week against Kent State, Haynes King, not a very inauspicious debut, I should say, at quarterback for Texas A&M. They sputtered. They were spinning their wheels at times in that game at home against Kent State last week. So the thought of laying 17 with them in Boulder here is not overly exciting to me. So I wish I could give you more, but this is just a game. I don't want either team here, so it's a pass. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I don't want either team either. I lean A&M. I just on the road. Yeah, I think they should cover, but it's a little too much. Just a game. I'm off.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I'm going to back the home team here. I think it's too many points. I think it's 2 scores, but not quite that high. I think maybe they get to 8, 10, 12, somewhere in that range. Between 8 and 12 points is what I come up with, even though I'm not really sure how good A&M is going to be on the offensive side, but Colorado, they're a shaky squad at best, but maybe sometimes at home they might get up for this game possibly. I'm not sold, but my numbers tell me that, so I'm going to trust my numbers in this game and not the eye test.
Yeah, definitely. It is a it's a tricky little spot here for A&M too. Let's keep that in mind. Going on the road here to Colorado. What do you think, DJ?
And this is a spot right here where I'm going to go ahead and lay the wood big time right here. I'm going to back Fisher. I think he's going to blossom over there a little bit. I think he may peak. He may go on the road or something. Like I like it a lot right here. On the road, he's got them to respond.
It is in Denver, the game.
And he got them to respond in different places. Now he takes them on the road. It's a great road win right here. Will set it up for some good conference play and maybe a shot at the title game in the SEC. This is a quality coach right here that can get these guys over the hump. So I'm gonna lay the wood and take Texas A&M today.
Yeah, I just wish I had more faith in the Colorado quarterbacks because they are up against a very good A&M defense, and that's definitely the one thing we're going to have to wait and see. So a couple people like Colorado in the chat, we'll see, but a couple people like A&M as well. So that's the Fox game late afternoon. So interesting game there. Next up, South Alabama, Bowling Green. South Bama, 14-point road favorites, 48 the total. I don't want to make too much of a big deal of it, but that was impressive by South Alabama last week. 31-6 over Southern Miss. Kane Womack, very good debut as the head coach last week, former Indiana defensive coordinator. That was a really solid debut for the Jaguars, and if they play anything close to as good this week, they might be able to cover this game because Bowling Green's hurting on offense, even with Matt McDonald, a returning quarterback. It's not a great offense, and obviously defensively, they've got their issues. So I would only look to the road favorite here. There might be a buy sign on South Alabama. They've got a pretty good, solid coaching hire there with Womack, and I was impressed with their opener. So I'd lean to the road favorite here. A lot of points. Are they ready to lay 2 touchdowns? But I would still prefer them than Bowling Green in this game. We've lost Conor Mac, so we'll go to Big Ragoo. What do you think here?
You know what? I looked at this game, and I didn't take any kind of interest in it, so I didn't even bother capping it. I read through a few things that I didn't like, and I just kind of jumped off this game. So I don't have a look on this game at all.
Yeah, total's been – Jake Bentley was great. I mean, we didn't like Jake Bentley at South Kakalaki. We didn't like Jake Bentley, the quarterback at Utah, and some of the other spots he's been. But here at South Alabama, he looked at home. That's about as good as I've seen him play quarterback last week against Southern Miss. So maybe he's finally found his comfortable home here. DJ, what do you think?
South Alabama looked good last week. Could be another promising team right here. This is a great week to jump on board of some teams that may have lacked a little value or something that you find the edge on. I'm not sure if this is the game right here, laying 14 on the road. The on the road part gets to me, but Bowling Green really stunk up the field last week. They just may be one of those underperformers this year, and this might be a chance for South Alabama to run up some points and feel good about what they got going on over there. But not the best game to bet value-wise. Lots of question marks on both sides of the ball, and you land 14, which you got to get over that to win. So I'll stay off, but I lean South Alabama.
All right. Yeah, we do. I like Army over. Someone asking in the chat. Yes, I do. That game just about to start. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that if you haven't already. Next up, this is one of the bigger ones today, right? The Cy-Hawk War rivalry. Iowa State. We've got Iowa State 4-point home favorites, 46 the total. I have no interest betting this game, but I am very much interested in watching it because Iowa State has never been able to beat Iowa. And Iowa looks like they could be as good as they've been in a few years this year. That defense especially, that was a dominant, that was an 85 Bears type performance last week against Indiana. They were swarming Michael Penix Jr., forced 2 pick sixes out of him, multiple turnovers. The defense was incredible for Iowa last week. But the offense, still sketchy. And look, Iowa State, people are going to look at it and say they struggled with Northern Iowa last week. Yeah, they did. Part of that, though, could be look ahead. Part of that could be we kept some things out under wraps in the cupboard, in the playbook for this game. You have to keep that in mind. And I still love Matt Campbell and Iowa State and respect them enough to not go against them here. But given the track record and dominance of Iowa against Iowa State, it's tough to lay points against Iowa given the dominance they've had in this series. So, I was on Iowa last week. I leaned to Iowa this week, but I like Iowa State a lot too. And if Brock Purdy and Breece Hall get the offense going at home, which might not be easy with what we saw from Iowa's defense last week, but if they do, and they force Spencer Petras to have to come back through the air, he's an okay quarterback. He's not that kind of quarterback, though, and I worry about that. Spencer Petras, if you put him in a spot where he's got to rally the team through the air, throwing the football, Tyler Goodson is really the catalyst running the football of that Iowa offense. So really fascinating game. I'm not involved. I like both teams. I think they're two teams I'd rather bet on than bet against, and that's why I'm going to leave it alone. A big Ragoo, what do you think here with the Cy-Hawk battle?
I just like the fact that Kirk Ferentz is on this squad, even though Matt Campbell's a great coach and Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. And they usually play close in these games. And even when Iowa State is beaten Iowa, it's only been by a field goal, real close game. So I think it's an overlay. If you like the points, it's a great spot for Iowa just because of the rivalry and the way these two teams have played each other over the years gone by. And I don't see that. I don't see that changing in this spot either. Both teams are going to be both equal to the task either way, and I think the points are at a premium here. So I would take the 4.5 points and go to the window with that. Right, and then also sprinkle the money line too.
All right, Iowa plus the points and money line. By the way, I want to make note of this right now so I never get asked. People say, if you like the team plus the points, do you like them on the money line? I always have at minimum 10% of my overall bet on the underdog on the money line. That's the way I do. Usually it's 80-20, 90-10 split percentage. Points, money line with any underdog, I bet. Every underdog, I bet. I have something on the money line, yes. DJ, what do you think here? Iowa State.
Well, Iowa is usually, I said it last week, is a team that I like to take them when they're getting points. And they're at that spot right here. And, typically I usually be off of this game. But last week, Big Ragoo's breakdown on Iowa and the way they performed on the field, they proved everything right there. Now, Iowa State, to me, has not proved it on the field right now. I think they could be a lot overvalued. We still dealing off the principle that Iowa State, made some progress a few years ago, but I don't think that they actually peaking like they should. So in a game like this, I'm all the way on Iowa in this one. Like you said, split the unit on the taking the points and then some on the money line.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is definitely very makes sense. But again, I like Iowa State enough that I'm not, but I lean Iowa too. Conor Mac is back. What do you think of Iowa State?
This game's interesting. Iowa State, it's game day there. It's going to be all hyped up. It seems like a lot of people like Iowa State. I just think it's too much. I mean, they haven't beat them in 5 or 6 years. Iowa kind of owns them. I just think it's a tough, hard-nosed football game. I lean under, and I think it'd be close. I mean, of course, Iowa State wants to show they can win, but by a touchdown, more than a field goal, I don't know. I think Iowa's defense is too good. I think it's really super tough. So, yeah, I take the 4.5, and, I put a little money line on Iowa.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
There you go. All right, Houston and Rice. Houston, 8-point road favorites, 51 the total. I said after I saw that debacle of a second half last week by Houston that I'm not laying points with them in this game. That was an embarrassment for Houston. I mean, 31-0 in the second half. Texas Tech just took them to the cleaners. Dana Holgorsen doing a bang-up coaching job once again, it looked like, in that game. Again, Clayton Tune got tuned in the second half, didn't do anything. offensively. The defense fell apart against that Texas Tech offense. Just completely outplayed in the second half, and that falls on coaching a little bit. And don't be fooled by Rice's loss. Not only they lost to Arkansas, they didn't cover. Arkansas punched in a late score. Rice actually competed pretty well in that game for the most part. It was kind of a tough beat if you had Rice plus the points. Solid team, good defense. And after what I saw from Houston's offense in the second half, Rice has a defense that could keep them hanging around in this game. I haven't bet the game, but I lean a little bit to the home dog Rice Owls here. What do you think, Conor Mac?
So do I. I haven't bet this one either, but I'm not feeling too confident in Houston. Yeah, Rice kind of just folded. Arkansas finally. Some of these teams, it like took the second half. San Diego State. There were some of these teams that just were horrible first half, night and day. In the second half, just totally kicked ass. But I lean the points here with Rice. I haven't bet it, but I think it's just too many here. Don't ask, don't tell. Shout out to my guy, $20 dono. Toot toot, hit the train. Says, love this show. Thanks, man.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate
it very much. Don't ask, don't tell. Very kind of you to do that. And we appreciate it. We're glad you and so many others like the shows and like the content. Big Ragoo, what do you think here with Houston Rice?
Like I told you last week, Rice is my nemesis. They're my kryptonite. But they're 5-0 last five against Houston ATS. And the unders are looking good in this spot too, I think. But the points will probably be solid here. I won't get to the window because I'm cursed with this team, but I lean the Rice Owls plus the points and the under.
DJ, what do you think?
Man, I thought I was the only person that was cursed with this Rice team. I dissed Rice on some show a few years back, and they ain't played the right way to me since. So it's a total off for me.
All right. Yeah, definitely. It's just after Houston last week, I'm going to need to see Houston step up and Dana Holgorsen coach for in a good way for a change before I'm ready to back Houston. Next up, we've got, as we continue on, this is a good one. App State, Miami. Fascinating game here. Miami, 8-point home favorites, 54.5 the total. Look, App State has a defense. I didn't sure they had a quarterback because I thought Chase Bryce was awful last year at Duke. David Cutcliffe was a good quarterbacks coach, couldn't get good play out of him. But he played well last week. They threw the ball well. They had a balanced offense. They ran it well. That was against East Carolina. Can they do it again here against Miami? On the flip side, Miami got their brains beat in by Alabama. Not that we should be shocked by that. That's what Nick Saban does in the openers. He just rolls, and that's what happened. Bounce back. It feels like a bounce back spot for Miami. I'm not totally sold yet on App State. After the East Carolina game, you're facing a much better. I lean to the laying the points actually here with Miami, but something about Miami that kind of like Houston and Holgorsen, flaky team, kind of a soft team. Manny Diaz, the more I see of this guy, the less I'm impressed, to be honest with you. I mean, this guy's calling defensive plays this year. How did that work last week? You're down big early because your defense can't get stops. They thought calling the plays this year was going to make it better. So far, not the case. So it feels like it's a bargain on Miami. It feels like a solid bounce back spot. But again, I was off on App State, and I'm not ready to go to war to bet against them yet here again in this spot. Conor Mac, what do you think? App State, Miami.
Shout out to my guy. There you go. Prince of the City. You can see the Wu-Tang shirt. Everyone does. I like G. Martinez. Yeah, Diaz, horrible as a favorite. Miami. Bryce is the big key to me. He did well last week. He was so shitty with Duke. I wouldn't lay it here with Miami. And it's not that I'm racing to the window to back App State, but I'd lean them with the points here. And that's it. Nothing on the total.
I lean over the total as well, just because Miami's going to play fast with Rhett Lashley's offense. And look, if Chase Bryce plays anything like he did last week, App State's live to win the game outright.
Yes,
not only
if
cover.
he plays,
but that's a big if, because it's a much better, should be in paper, a much better team in defense. We'll see. Does he go back into Chase Bryce mistakes, hanging out of the football, sack, turnovers? We'll see, because that's what plagued him last year with Duke. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask for both squads here because Miami's licking their chops after getting whooped by Bama. And App State, they're up to play anybody. They're arguably one of the best teams in the Sun Belt, even though you have Louisiana in that conference along with Coastal. But they're going to be gamers here. I'm not really going to say I'm going to get to the window with Miami. I know I'm not going to get to the window with Miami. They haven't impressed me ever since our guys took it over down there. But I'm just thinking It's going to be a closer game than the number indicates. Maybe a little lean to the over. I think you're going to see some scoring on both sides, even though both sides are supposed to be defensive-minded football coaches. I think you'll see points here. So I would lean to the home team and the over in this spot. I might get to the window just to lean.
All right, just a lean to Miami and over. DJ, what do you think?
Oh man, I'm way on the other side of everybody, I guess, in the chat and in this room right here. I like App State for sure. Give me the 9 points. They look really good on defense. I like how they based on defense. I like their running game on offense. I like that they like to play physical football. I'm not sure if Miami is expecting this out of App State. It might be a small element of surprise for Miami. And if you think about it from a coaching perspective, when Miami goes in to coach, from the tape from the week before against Bama, it's not a lot you can coach up on. Like these guys were outsized you. I mean, everything looks bad on that tape. You know what I'm saying? So do they know what they can do good? I heard them mention that the defense is supposed to be their niche, but I heard them mention that the defense is just playing terrible, not up to par and stuff like that. But I still lean under in this one because the offense still struggles as well. Every time they play a team with some decent defense, it's a war with this Miami team. I don't see a lot of points being scored in this game. So I like backing App State with the 9 points, and I like the under in this one.
All right, Texas State, Florida International, FIU 2.0 favorites, 55 the total in this game here. FIU, of course, Butch Davis here has been here a very long time. Texas State actually hung in there against Baylor, 29-20 loss, but they got outgained pretty badly in that game. Don't want to make Brady McBride the quarterback. I think he's talented, but man, it's still inconsistent for him. FIU, they beat up on an FCS team, 48-10, played very well in that game. So how much can you make of it? I don't know. I just feel like from a recruiting standpoint and situational standpoint, FIU would be the way I would look here. Less than a field goal. I think they can get the win here. I'm not trusting Texas State to go on the road and win a game. Not yet. And FIU, to me, I think still recruits a little bit better than they do there in San Marcos with that Texas State outfit. So I lean a little to FIU here in this one. And look, Bortenschlager is the quarterback. I'm not saying he's great for FIU, but he's been around the block. He's a Maryland transfer once upon a time. He's been around, and he should be decent at least for them at quarterback this year. So I like FIU a little bit. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Pass. There ain't no way in hell I'm betting this game.
All right.
Just leave it at that.
I would lean towards the total over just by looking at numbers perspective. Talent-wise, I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
All right, DJ.
Yeah, I'm like Connor. It's a pass for me, man. Total pass.
All right, nothing wrong. On we go. We've got NC State, Mississippi State, another one of these ACC, SEC games, and another SEC home dog. NC State 1.5 point road favorites, 55. And just like with Pitt, Tennessee, I'm going against the SEC home dog in this game. Look, I know they only played South Florida, but they just completely destroyed South Florida. And Mississippi State, you could say what they did was much less impressive than what NC State did. NC State at least looked really good. I can't say that about Mississippi State. Their defense looked soft again. They're committing turnovers, penalties galore. They should have lost to Louisiana Tech. They were down big in the fourth quarter, and they were fortunate to make that comeback. Louisiana Tech misses the field goal at the end, and Mississippi State hangs on for the win. But that was not impressive by Mississippi State on defense. The only thing that was good about them is Will Rogers had a good second half after they were down big. Other than that, there's not a lot that impressed me about Mississippi State. I know it's an ACC team laying points on the road against an SEC team. I get that. But maybe NC State's just better. All right? Maybe they're just better. I think they are better. I like NC State. And Doran, as this is his best team I think he's ever had there. That defense is legit. And, if I'm their defense, I say, we drop everybody in coverage because all they do is throw the football under Mike Leach and dare them to have success that way. So I think NC State gets the win here. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, NC State to me is just better. Of course it's a home game for Mississippi State. I thought they'd struggle last week. They're lucky they won that game. So to me, it's NC State is a small favorite here, and I think this goes over. I think, if La Tech could score that many points, I think NC State does, and Mississippi State I think will get some as well. So over 55.5 here.
All right, liking the total as well. I was on the Mississippi State. I leaned the over here, but it's just a much better defense that NC State will be than compared to Louisiana Tech. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I'm not going to put much stock into that 45 zip win because of who they played, but NC State is a quality football program, a quality football team. I think the right side is favored in this spot here. I think it's going to be big plays versus NC State's kind of grinded out style of football, and the turnover factor is going to be big here. So definitely, if NC State, we know they're going to take care of the football. Mississippi State, if they turn it over, it's going to get ugly for them. And I think the right team's favored here. So I would lean NC State.
All right, DJ, what do you think?
I haven't did my homework on NC State, so I can't really make a call on that one. And Mississippi State may be a bottom feeder SEC team, and bottom feeder SEC teams, they tank all the way around. So I will stay off of this game.
All right, next game we have Eastern Michigan, Wisconsin. Wisconsin 26-point home favorites here in Madison at Camp Randall. The total in this one around 52. It looks like pretty much across the board in this one right now. It should be a get right game for Wisconsin. They could probably just line up, run the football, and have a ton of success. I think Wisconsin, small bet for me on them minus the 26. I don't think Eastern Michigan's going to have a lot of offensive success. The one concern is they're very good on the road underdog role under Chris Creighton, the head coach. They've done well in this spot. They've covered some numbers on the road against Power 5 teams, but I wouldn't step in front of Wisconsin here this week. Just running the football alone, they should be able to just get 10, 15, 20-yard gainers on the ground routinely today. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, Eastern Michigan in the past has been, a good spoiler team to take points. But I don't know about here, like you talked about. I think this is a good bounce back for Wisconsin. It's a lean. I haven't bet it, but I'd lay the wood here with Wisconsin.
DJ, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, it's definitely a bounce back spot, but I'm not going to get to the window with the high 20 number here. Even though they probably will have their way with them. It's a pass for betting purposes, but definitely a get right game for whiskey.
All right, DJ.
Hey, to me, Wisconsin is like hospital food. It's good for you, but it doesn't really taste that good or anything. So I'm not willing to lay that many points with a team that don't mind playing a slow game, running the ball. I'm not going to lay it right there. So that's a pass for me.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Josh, thank you for the dono, $4.99. Appreciate it. Hope you're all enjoying the show. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Next up, we've got North Texas SMU. SMU 22-point home favorites, 73.5, 74 the total. I ain't betting this thing under, even at 7. Like, North Texas is better offensively than they are defensively. They're not good defensively. I don't trust them to get many stops here in this game. On the flip side, their quarterback, Jace Ruder and Austin Aune, are the two quarterbacks. They're capable. But more than anything, this is essentially, to me, when I look at this game, Tanner Mordecai looks like they've got something special potentially with him. I know it was only one game, but 7 touchdown passes. Hard to argue with that. He looked dynamic for Sonny Dykes and this SMU offense. They could absolutely rip this North Texas defense. I would only look to the favorite laying the points. It's a big number, but SMU's a good few notches better than North Texas. I think the favorite and the over the way I would go here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, shout out to Josh. We appreciate the dono, my guy, and everyone in the chat. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the share, the bell, the whistle, all the bullshit you get here on YouTube. Hit it for us. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I lean towards the over. I don't know if SMU covers here. I think North Texas might be able to score a little bit on them. So I'd be leery. If I had to make a bet, I'd take the points here with North Texas.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I still think there's value on the over, believe it or not. Even though both teams are coming off FCS foes, I think they're going to light up the scoreboard often and early here. So first half over.
I think 52-28 sounds like the final score to me in this game. 52 for SMU. They could really hang 50, I think, in this game, and you could get maybe 28 or so from North Texas. DJ, what do you think?
I like that over. In contrary to belief, when it's set that high, it's probably going to go that high. It's like the book doing the work for you. But I have this SMU team on my get well in 2021 list. So if I had to make a play, I'd probably back him and lay the wood on this one.
All right, we got keep it rolling here. We'll try to go through these as quickly as can. We're going to not go too much long. We're not going 3 hours today. We're going to try to not go too much longer than 2 hours. Liberty Troy. We've got Liberty 3.5-point road favorites. 62 the total in this game. I like the favorite a little bit. It's just too. I understand Liberty's got a couple of injury concerns at wide receiver, but Malik Willis and this team is loaded on both sides of the ball. I think it's just too low now. I know Troy's improving. Chip Lindsey, the head coach. I like the quarterback, Taylor Powell, the Missouri transfer. He played well last week. This is another game I think could be a shootout. I like the over a little bit here, 62. But at 3.5, it's just too low a number for me not to take Liberty. This team is going to be a potential to go undefeated, one loss at most. They are great on both sides of the ball. Hugh Freeze done a good job. So I like Liberty minus 3.5 and over 62 here. And Malik Willis, the real deal. If you haven't had a chance to watch Liberty games, he is one hell of a quarterback to watch here, dual threat. I think Liberty wins. The game goes over the total. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, a lot of people liking Troy here this week. I'm not so sure, too. I think Liberty just has a little bit more talent, and I want the better quarterback in Willis. So I haven't bet it. I've waited, but this is one I wanted to wait all week and watch. I lean to Liberty. I think they're just a little bit better here in Troy.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think the line's indicative of that, Connor, even though a lot of people think that Liberty has a better talent. Troy's a pretty talented team, too. They're very dangerous. I mean, Taylor Powell from Missouri, he looked pretty good, even though, like I said, FCS type of game. So I'm going to wait and see on this one, but this one should be a good game to watch. But I would lean Liberty in this spot, but Troy's very dangerous.
All right, DJ.
Yeah, I got Troy very good this year, but not quite getting it as they should overall. And this Liberty team, they've been kind of on the move, very impressive. So I'm going to side with Liberty on this one for sure.
Yeah, I agree. They're improving. I just don't know if they're ready to beat Liberty. I guess we'll find out today. Memphis, Arkansas State. We've got Memphis 5.5-point road favorites, 64 the total in this game. Grant Cannell, the quarterback for Memphis, is out due to injury, and it's going to be a long-term lower leg injury for him. So it's going to be Seth Hennigan at the quarterback spot here for Memphis today. He's going to get lots of work. He's a freshman. I think Arkansas State as a home dog is the way it would go here in this game. Look, I know it's definitely a situation where they've got the FSU transfer at quarterback, James Blackman and Lane Hatcher. Both of those guys got snaps last week for Arkansas State at quarterback, but they're both experienced. Blackman say it didn't go well at Florida State, but kind of like Jake Bentley at South Alabama. Step down in class. You're in the Sun Belt now. He can play good there. I think we have a live home dog here. And I don't know if Memphis is one of those teams that can maintain where they were under Mike Norvell. I don't think under Ryan Silverfield, this program is going to maintain the quality that they did under Mike Norvell. So I like Arkansas State a little as a home dog here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's a pass for me. Just the kind of unknowns are both teams. I think Memphis is better. I want to lay 5.5 on the road. I think they win it. It's just a stay off for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, remnants left over for Memphis from Norvell with his departure to FSU, and then Anderson taking off and Bonner, leaving town from Ark State. There's too many question marks here. I got to wait and see. I'll pass.
All right, DJ.
I like Arkansas State plus the points. Arkansas State in much better condition this year, and I think the value's on the wrong side. I think Arkansas State should have been minus the points, so I probably split it money line and take the points on that one.
Ooh, I like it.
Like it. Oh, yeah. I'm right. Again, like I said earlier, when I take the points with an underdog, part of that bet is on the money line with every single one. So it's always a little bit on the money line for me with any underdog. Next up, Texas, Arkansas. We've got Texas, 6.5-point road favorites, 56.5 the total. I like Arkansas as a bet on team. Lucky to cash with them last week, but I'm not ready to lay 7 with Texas. They were good last weekend. Maybe Sarkisian's finally the right hire. That was pretty impressive against a good UL Lafayette team. I mean, they didn't light it up offensively, but the defense was really strong. This could be a good Texas team, but I'm going to need to see another good performance here on the road at Arkansas, a solid team in their own right. So this is a good game to watch. I'd lean under. I think the total going down is correct. I lean slightly to Arkansas at +7 or better, but nothing strong. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I think if you could get a 7, that'd be the way to go. There's 6.5s.
Yep.
Texas did look good last week, but can they do it again? This is going to be interesting to see. Yeah, Sarkisian, if Texas is kind of for real. I think Arkansas showed up, like we talked about earlier, in the second half. They were really horrible in that first half, but they're at home here. I think this is a slippery spot for Texas that had that big win. It'd be Arkansas on the points and a little money line here with the home dog.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Another SEC dog, right?
Yep.
Pittman's going to rally the troops here, I believe. I would like to have the comfort of the 7, to sit on that, but this is going to be another beer-cracking game for me. I'm not going to get to the window, but I would lean Arkansas at home with Pittman and the squad.
Yeah, and another reason why I only lean Arkansas here is I was not impressed with throwing the football from KJ Jefferson against Rice last week. He's going to have to improve throwing the football. Not really all that. 12 for 21 is nothing to write home about. DJ, what do you think here?
I wasn't really a Sark fan back in the day, but what he did with this squad this year, the way they looked the last game, he might be onto something right here. And I'm gonna take him. I love the 6.5. I'll take Texas minus the 6.5 all day.
Yeah,
a lot of people like them.
Yeah, I mean, they could be really good, and I don't know yet. So that's also why I'm not betting against Texas, because they could be really good. And I was impressed with that debut for Sark last week. Missouri, Kentucky 5-point home favorites, 56.5, 57 the total. I've been singing the praises of the decision they made at quarterback with Will Levis. It was a great decision. He's played great. He was great. Now, again, Monroe is nothing, one of the worst teams, but they finally, I think, have a guy that can throw the ball. Terry Wilson wasn't that guy. They had Swan. I mean, they had some other quarterbacks that just could not throw Lynn Bowden before the Kentucky quarterbacks, guys that just couldn't throw the football. But this guy can, Will Levis, the Penn State transfer. Missouri didn't impress me last week against Central Michigan, and they're banged up a little bit, and I don't like their defense a whole lot. It's still not a great Missouri defense. I lean Kentucky laying the 5 here. I think they get the win. I think they could get the cover. I like the over a little bit too, because I think Missouri's a bit of an over team. I think Kentucky's going to be in some higher scoring games. They finally got an offense. They finally have a passing game. So the Kentucky and over for me would be the way I would go. Conor Mac, what do you think?
This is a pass for me. I got to see a little more out of Kentucky. If I were to bet it, I'd be on Missouri. I know they're a little banged up, but I think this game's close. So I take the points and maybe a little on the money line with Mizzou.
Yep. Well, definitely Missouri's going to be a lot tougher than Monroe. There's no question. That is a question. Is Kentucky ready for a step-up challenge? And Bazelak, a good quarterback for Missouri. A big Ragoo, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a measurement game for both of these squads. But I think Kentucky's, they're going to have to take care of the football a little bit better. Maybe ULM, Missouri, I think they're going to try to establish a run. But I think that 5's a tricky number. I'm going to pass. I think I've seen some 5.5s moving up, so I think the money is coming Kentucky's way, but it's a pass for me.
All right, DJ.
Right here in this one, like I said, the sample size is kind of too small. I mean, how can I jump in the boat with Kentucky? They played Monroe. They gave up 10 points to Monroe, who's supposed to be a really bad team. And then Central Michigan, I don't know, did they really put them to the test to see enough for me to come out and back them? So this will be a good game to watch and see if either one of these teams are teetering towards success.
All right, Georgia State, North Kakalaki. North Kakalaki, 26-point home favorites, 66 the total. Unless they're mentally fragile, unless they're completely rattled by how bad they played against Virginia Tech last week, they should absolutely steamroll in this game. And I'm going to have to hope that North Carolina team shows up this week. And by the way, I also want to point something out. Mac Brown kind of got after his team a little bit, saying we were overhyped, we were overrated, we were not as good as we all thought we were. So keep that in mind here, definitely. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, that North Carolina, if they're focused, if their heads are right, they should come out here at home, roll this Georgia State team. So I think first half, full game, laying the points is the way I'm going to go. And hope that as long North Carolina can't think their season's over. You got to get back on the saddle. You still got a lot to play for ahead of you, and you still should be a pretty good team. So I think it's a bounce back for UNC and the Baby Blues. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I think it's a bounce back too. But man, they should handle business here. I'd lay the points in the first half, but that defense needs to get better. I think they cover here. I'd more look first half. But yeah, I'd only be on North Carolina. I'm not going to bet it, but I lean that way. Real quick, shout out to our guy Sharpie. As soon as we're done with the show, he's going to run through the baseball card with you guys here in just about 30 minutes.
Yeah, we got you covered for baseball, so check out his video for sure if you're betting baseball today. Big Ragoo, what do you think here with North Carolina, Georgia State?
I totally agree with Connor's look. First half or pass. Maybe Georgia State can get a backdoor cover with that big number, but I think they're going to come out of the gate quick. And Ty Chandler and Howell are going to get this team back on track.
DJ.
I'm screaming overrated on North Carolina until they prove anything different, but not enough to take Georgia State or the points. But I got my eye on this North Carolina team. Might be a fade team, man. I think this guy is not going together. And, you know, they had some outside of football things that rallied them in the past that got them to this hype that they had right now. But they really haven't proved it on the field with us. I don't know how they had Sam Howell as one of the best quarterbacks in NCAA football. A lot of competition out there with Tracy McCall and a bunch of other guys with better skill sets than this guy, better decision makers. So I'm just going to watch this North Carolina team. I'm waiting for the value to get right, and I'm going to attack them.
Washington, Michigan. We've got Michigan 6.5 point home favorites, 48.5 the total. So Washington, look, I understand there's been an adjustment. You could argue there's value on Washington. I think there is, but I can't take Washington. Not after what I saw last week. That Montana loss was hideous. They have no downfield passing game. Dylan Morris, the quarterback, I've never been sold on him as a quarterback. He was not good in the game. The receivers are riddled with injuries right now. I like the defense still, but that they actually let Montana run for over 4 yards per carry on Washington last week. And if Michigan can run the football here, I know Ronnie Bell's a big injury, great receiver for Michigan, out for the year, unfortunate. But if they can run the football against Washington, that's going to help that offense. Michigan's the only way I could go, but the problem is it feels like an over-adjustment a little bit. But Washington's that bad. Washington was so bad last week that I cannot, in good faith, even if it is some value in the number, take them on the road at Ann Arbor in the Big House on a Saturday night. I just can't. With that offense, with that injuries at receiver, that quarterback, no, I can't do it. So it's Michigan, and I think the under might be the best bet to make here, 48.5 under the total. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I was leaning under in this game. I know we got a overreaction. I think, Michigan might not be as good. They played a cupcake in Western Michigan. Washington just looked horrible. 3 interceptions by the QB. Defense didn't look that good. I wanted 10 points with Washington. I can't take them only catching 6.5. I think the game's close. I got to feel out Michigan. As a lot of people know, I don't love laying points with them. And I think there's value with Michigan a little bit, but I'm going to pass on the game. Lean under. I might take this under.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Hey, Connor, I've been betting against Michigan before you were born as a favorite. Yeah. This is probably going to be another one of those spots. As bad as they played, as bad as they fucking stunk up the field with Washington last week, I'm going to say it's an aberration. And I kind of agree with Ian on the quarterback situation there. But this team is just too defensively strong, and I think that's where Michigan's going to. Michigan doesn't impress me with their offense. I'm going to draw a line through that game, even though I hate to do it. I'm going to get to the window at Washington in the spot, I'm going to buy it up to 7. If it's not 7 by the time I bet it, I'm going to wait till late. I'm sure there's going to be some Michigan money coming late also in that spot, but I'm going to take. Yeah. I'm going to take Washington in this spot, take the points.
If I see a 7, I might be more interested, or a 7.5. That's what I was kind of waiting on.
Yeah, I'm going to wait, but I'm probably going to get to the window. If I have to buy it to 7, but I'm probably going to get to 7. Hopefully 7.5, like you say.
All right, DJ, what do you think? Washington, Michigan.
Ooh, if Michigan is the real deal, he gonna burn you today, Ragoo. He gonna burn you.
First time.
Because if they do happen to win, he's gonna win big. It's gonna be a proven team. I mean, like you said, not much of a sample size, but they look good. It was able to run the ball, throw the ball, play a little defense. Like all the things that we expect out of Harbaugh was actually happening. His seat is scorching hot. So he's got to come out here and give the people what they want. So, I mean, why is the number so low? Like kind of said, it should have been like 10 or something like that. So I don't know. It's kind of tricky. But I said it last week. Even if Michigan win, I'm still going to keep my eye on them and stay off them.
Yeah. Okay, probably plus 225, 230 on the money line too.
That's a nice one.
Yep, definitely interesting to see how it goes. All right, next up here, we've got, as we continue along, late games now. Vanderbilt, Colorado State. Colorado State, 6.5-point home favorites, 51.5. I get it. Vanderbilt's the worst team in the SEC. It's not close. And that was despicable last week, how bad they played. But did Colorado State play any better? They lost to South Dakota State at home. They were awful in that game. They were absolutely pathetic. Todd Centeio can't play quarterback. Steve Adazio can't coach. He's never been a good coach. Stunk at Temple. Stunk at Boston College. I'm not laying this points with a bad coach and a bad football team. And that's what Colorado State is. Now, Vanderbilt could be just as bad, if not worse. But I'll take my chances getting points with Vandy. I'm on Vandy. Simple as that. Can't lay points with this Adazio and this team. Can't do it. Colorado State. You kidding me? At least Vanderbilt, they can get some decent recruits still compared to Colorado State, a bottom-tier Mountain West team. So, look, maybe they're that bad, but I'll take my chances. They aren't that bad, Vanderbilt, but they can hang in there and challenge to win this game. I'm on Vandy. What do you think here, Conor Mac?
I agree with you. I was a little bit shocked that Colorado State was this high of a touchdown favorite. The way they looked, they weren't very good last year. Man, they looked bad at times, Colorado State, and then that first game they looked horrible. That's great. Yeah, I'd only be on Vandy. Give me the SEC team here. I mean, I'd have to take the points with them. Maybe even money line. All right,
Big Ragoo.
You don't like South Dakota State, I guess.
They're really good. They're a good FCS team. We're in the national title game. No, definitely.
I'm not an Adazio fan, but I think, like you said, Vandy being a bottom tier team, them traveling up to up in the mountains, I'm going to roll with the home team in this spot. As bad as they are, I'm gonna roll the dice, and I'm gonna take Colorado State and lay the points.
All right,
a lot of
DJ,
people like it.
How about our Mountain West man, DJ? What do you think of the Colorado State here tonight?
This is a miserable game for me because I really had hopes of Colorado State kind of getting it together. I mean, last year they kind of stunk up the field, but they had some accolades with the defensive line. I think they had the most sacks in the Mountain West. Yeah. So I expected them to build on that this year and be much better. But when they came out losing, oh man, I don't know what to say about it. Like I agree with you. Like Adazio can't throw. I mean, Adazio can't coach. Centennial can't throw. You know what I'm saying? And where was the defense when all this happened? You know what I'm saying? But I can't put value in Vandy, man. Vandy is a research smart guy school, man. They don't care about this football stuff. That's just extra that comes along with it. So, I mean, it's a good spot for Colorado State to jump in and actually get a win because playing like they play, they're going to have it tough in the Mountain West. But I'm going to stay off of it personally. But if I had to give a pick, I'm going to be a little Mountain West bias, and I'm going to lay the points and take Colorado State.
All right, next up, we've got Arizona hosting San Diego State. Arizona 2-point home favorites, 46.5 the total in this game. I'll give Arizona credit. Hung in there in their opener against BYU, although they lost. They did cover. Gunnar Cruz was solid at quarterback. Give him credit. Threw the ball well against that BYU secondary. San Diego State, I mean, the first half against New Mexico State last week, they couldn't move the football. They won against one of the worst teams in FBS, and their defense got carved up a little bit. Now, obviously, in the second half, they ran out New Mexico State and blew them out in the second half. But playing bad for one whole half against New Mexico State concerns me enough about the Aztecs. And this is another one where I think the program's in a bit of decline since Rocky Long's not there anymore. Brady Hoke, to me, is not a great football coach. He's just not. And I don't think this program is going up. I think it's going down under his watch. I lean Arizona here. I haven't bet it because I want to see more from both of these teams. I'd rather bet against both of these teams, but at this number, I'd lean slightly to Arizona here. But it's not a game I'll be betting. Connor, what do you think? Aztecs, Wildcat?
Yeah, I've been looking at this one. Under, San Diego State game, give me the under. They seem to cash every time. And I'd only be on San Diego State. I know Arizona looked better last week. I thought they played okay, but I thought BYU just didn't play well in that game. But, I look under here, and if I were to take it, I'd just take San Diego State money line, plus 110.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on this game. I think, like Connor said, BYU just had a bad day, and Arizona is still a bad football team. So San Diego State and under a pass.
I mean, Jordan Brookshire, the San Diego State quarterback, he couldn't move the ball for over a half against New Mexico State at home. So he'd better be a whole lot better on the road here against Arizona, or else they could be in tough here. What do you think, DJ?
Well, we know San Diego State plays that rough 3-3-5 defense. I don't know Arizona, I'm sorry. I don't know if Arizona's prepared to deal with that or can beat that. I went to that San Diego State game against New Mexico State. I mean, it did look bad. It looked bad. But at the end of the day, they only gave up 10 points. You know what I mean? A touchdown and a field goal. So it wasn't far. I mean, I capped them getting 7, you know what I'm saying? But they got an extra field goal. But what I did see was Brady Hoke took them to the locker room at halftime, came out with a plan. I seen a whole different defense, but I kind of seen the same offense. They actually won the game because the defense got an interception. They got some turnovers. The offense still never ran the ball well. They got this little bitty guy. I don't even understand how they gonna get the ball to him down the field. But they tried a few times and they missed. So, you know, the offense is still in shambles. And one of the worst things that happened coaching-wise was that Brady, he had 3 quarterbacks that he worked out all year. At some point in that game, he could have tried one of the other guys. I think the fans was a little upset by that. So
maybe you should.
Like locking in Brookshire, he doesn't have the eye to throw. Like, he had wide open shots, and he rather throw the ball over the middle of the field. So I'm worried about taking them in the game. But they going on the road. All they got to pack with them is defense. So I'm going under in this one.
I mean, 6 for 19 against New Mexico State at home. 76 passing yards and an interception for Brookshire last. That's terrible. Maybe switch it up if you're Hope. You're right. But he didn't do that. But I don't know. It's just I got issues with San Diego State. That's why I lean Arizona here. But I got issues with both teams. I'd just rather have Arizona here. Utah, BYU, a little holy war here. Utah, 6.5-point road favorites, 49.5 the total. Look, I like Utah to win the game. I did lay the points, but I'm a little bit leery now, up to 6.5, 7. BYU to me's got some issues. Jaron Hall didn't look great. The defense got shredded through the air, and they are facing a veteran, experienced, good pocket passing quarterback in Charlie Brewer, the Baylor transfer here for Utah. I don't love laying points in rivalry games. It is up to 6.5, 7, but Utes are the better of these two teams. I think so. And definitely the more experienced team, loaded on both lines of scrimmage. And I think that's going to show tonight. I think Utah gets the win, and I think can get the cover by a touchdown or more. I wouldn't want to lay much more than this, but I think Utah is the better team, better than the side here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Utah's better as well, but I'm not betting this one at all. This one could be close, such a rivalry. It's a pass for me.
Right, big Ragoo.
That's the spot, Connor. It's going to be a rivalry game. We know that they have the better talent on the Utah side with Zach Wilson departed. I still think they're going to lick each other's chops and get in the trenches. It's going to be a trench game. I'll probably lean towards the under and take the home team plus the points here.
All right, DJ.
With a little sprinkle too.
I don't really want to make a play on it, but if I did, I'll make a play on BYU. BYU, they conference shopping right now for next year, and all this conference mix-up that's going in. They've already committed. They want to go in on the conference. So jumping around, playing these different teams, that's where they have to show, they worth right here. So home dog, it all makes sense. But I just don't trust Utah either. They could be one of the top Pac-12 schools. We don't know how it's going to go out. I don't trust the Pac-12 as far as I can throw them. But if I had to make a play, I'm taking the home dog with the points in the rival game. But I'm gonna keep an eye on BYU, man. They got to make a case for this. And they've been doing well. They beat Boise last year. They gave Coastal Carolina a hell of a fight. So I don't know. I would take it that way if I had to, though.
By the way, 11-5 against the spread run for Utah under Kyle Whittingham as road favorites. So they've been very good in this role. We'll see if they are again here tonight. UNLV, Arizona State. Arizona State 34-point home favorites, 54.5 the total. UNLV, just a horrible, tough loss last week against Eastern Washington. Come back and then lose in overtime. It's actually a decent effort, but do I trust them to get back up off the mat here on the road now to a very good Arizona State team? No. Maybe a few too many to lay here, but I don't want the underdog. It would be favorite or pass. Conor Mac, UNLV, Arizona State.
Yeah, pass here. It might be a little bit too much for Arizona State, but UNLV is just so bad. I pass.
All right, Big Ragoo.
That's what happens when you let a local high school football coach take over your team.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's a pass. No interest in this game.
All right, DJ.
This one right here it's a pass for me as well. But I was expecting UNLV to play a lot better this year. That number is way up there for Arizona State, who hasn't been very offense. Herm Edwards teaches defense over there. Like, that's his thing. But Herm Edwards' seat is so hot right now, and he's did all he could do to get this coaching staff over here that he got. It's kind of like they have to show and improve right now. So a big blowout victory would be a win in his bag as far as cooling off his seat. But do they have that much offense? And I don't think UNLV is very streaky. I think UNLV could put some points on the board. This game could go over. So I'm staying off, but I can't lay that many points for Arizona State.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem here for Marcus Arroyo here at UNLV. It's just very, very look, he's got 1 point spread cover, all right, as head coach of this team in 2 years. So that's why I would only look to the favorite here. And they're getting big points every week. He still can't cover a number. So that's how bad it is right now at UNLV. Stanford, USC 17-point home favorites, 53 the total. I'm just going to say pass on this one because I think USC is the much better team, and Stanford was hideous last week. Can't even explain how bad that is against Kansas State. Bad offense. 4th and 3 at the 40-yard line of Kansas State, and this guy is punting. Same old David Shaw, conservative fucking coaching. I mean, that's just playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Stanford looked awful. I'm not backing them. I want no part of them. But this number was -10 on USC over the summer. Look at the adjustment that's been made after one game. USC beating San Jose State, Stanford looking terrible against Kansas State. It doesn't feel like great value on USC, but I don't trust Stanford enough. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a pass for me too. SC looked good. I just don't want to lay 17.5 here. Man, Stanford was they looked so bad last week. I want to take the points with them. I just I'm not going to pull the trigger, so it's a pass.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I guess Jack West isn't taking them to the promised land anytime soon. So.
Well, it'll be Tanner McKee today. So maybe
Tanner McKee, okay.
Yep.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Like you say with Shaw and the coaching style there, I would, if it was like 2 touchdowns or less, I would take it. But I don't want 3 scores here in this spot.
Yeah, it's a huge quarterback edge for Keaton Slovis, of course, over either quarterback. And Jack West was terrible. At least with Tanner McKee at the end of the Kansas State game, they moved the ball a bit. But again, now he's got to start. USC can game plan on defense for him. So different animal now, asking him to start here, Tanner McKee tonight for Stanford. DJ, what do you think?
For some reason, I'm feeling taking the points with Stanford. I think as dry as Stanford plays, I think Shaw out-coaches him in game management, not for the win, but maybe for the backdoor cover. SC has the athletes and all that good stuff, but it's just not all gelled up. I mean, you can make a case that San Jose State could have beat them in that game, So I can't back USC like that. I think they do have the talent, the look on paper, but I don't think they have the coaching to actually get the job done. Shaw played this team and many coaches at this school, and he's got to break the game down, run it slow to give himself an opportunity to win sometimes. So he may be able to keep it inside that 17. But I would lean Stanford plus the points and the under.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely line value on Stanford. There is. It's not maybe. There is line value on Stanford. So I do lean Stanford. But and one thing we've seen from USC is sometimes it's these big favorite roles. They're lackadaisical. They turn the ball over, sloppy penalties, bad. Clay Helton's always a risk. Laying this many points. So they always do get concerned about that. That's why USC's a flighty favorite when they're laying this many points at times. Final game, we've reached it. Final game of this Saturday card: Hawaii, Oregon State. Oregon State 10.5 point home favorites, 65 the total in this game. Not so much love either side. I still think there's some value on Hawaii. I know Hawaii's kind of underwhelmed so far this year with the way they've started. They had that terrible game to start the year against UCLA, 44-10, and they were not impressive against Portland State last week. 27-point favorites. They won 49-35. Their defense got shredded, but still they have a good offense. The defense that worries me a little bit. And Oregon State's offense, is capable enough of making a defense that's kind of having a tough time. Maybe have some struggles here in this game. Oregon State's not been good as favorites. I mean, 7-16 ATS run as favorites. That's not good. So that's why I think there's some value on Hawaii. I lean Hawaii here getting doubles, but more than anything, I agree with the totals move up. I think it'll be high scoring, over 65. You've lost some better the value with the total, but I like the game to be high scoring in the over here. So Hawaii and over if I'm going to bet this matchup here. Conor Mac, what do you think, Hawaii, Oregon State?
Yeah, you hit it all, how bad Hawaii's defense is. And Oregon State's defense isn't very good either. And both teams can score. This was my favorite look at night, was the over in this game. I think it gets there. It's a beautiful day in Corvallis, no rain, a bunch of points tonight. And yeah, Oregon State laying, 10.5, 11. And, I wouldn't do it. I'd take the points with Hawaii.
Go ahead and lay the points. Don't even worry about it. Hawaii's that bad.
Wow.
They're bad.
Terrible. Yep. They can't stop it. They couldn't stop a kindergarten squad on the other side. UCLA ran all over them. Last week, Portland State ran.
And that was at home. Yeah.
And guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen here. Take Oregon State, lay the wood.
Yeah, I fear for that. And I like Cordero on the off. And I thought this defense was going to be better. They got tons of returners back, returning talent on that side of the ball. And to see them play this bad, UCLA shred Portland State at home, shreds them. That's been disappointing for Todd Graham. So that's why I like the over more than the Hawaii side. DJ, what do you think here?
I'm going to say, first of all, UCLA was a really good team. That's the misconception that we have. UCLA was up there. They took a rifle ass kicking. And the Portland State game, they came out good, 35 points. But somewhere got lackadaisical in there. And Portland State backdoor covered that one. So I'm not totally sold on Hawaii being bums, but I don't think Todd Graham is a 100% fit right there. I mean, the offense struggles, the defense struggles, but in this game right here, I would lay the points with Oregon State because I'm not taking Hawaii off of the island, nowhere on the mainland this year. But I take Oregon State in that one, but I kind of lean under in that game because Hawaii can struggle to score. They try to run a running game and slow it down. I mean, that's how Todd Graham wants to coach this team. But these teams have a little history with each other, but Oregon State smashes them every time. So lay the wood with Oregon State.
Oregon State's defense, though, is pretty bad, too. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and Sam Neuer, the Colorado transfer quarterback for Oregon State, with Tristan Gebbia still injured, struggled a little bit last week against Purdue. So we'll see if that offense could bounce back here, though, at home against Hawaii, which hasn't shown much defensively. So we'll see. But you're right. At least if DJ liking the under, he's getting a good number now, 65, up from where it was at 60. All right, that is the Saturday card. We will wrap the show up in a second with best bets from all four of us, and we will get to that in just a second. But first, messages from Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. As you saw, great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Southtown 101. Manscaped, promo code PubSports, 20% off your purchase of the Lawnmower 4.0 and any Manscaped product with the promo code PubSports. MyBookie.ag as well, promo code PubSports. Football season's here. Sign up for an account. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit as well. MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. All right, it's another long show. We're working. We're getting closer to the 2-hour mark. We did better than last week where we went 3 hours. We're going to continue to try to keep this to as close to 2 hours as possible, but we improved in that mark this week for sure. We'll continue to get closer to that as we go along, but we still want to get in every game and get everybody's thoughts on them. So it's worth it to go a little past 2 hours, but time to wrap up, guys. Best bets We'll start with you, Conor Mac. What do you like for best bet?
Man, there's a bunch. I'll go to the big game. Iowa State. I'm on the under, and I already talked about what I liked in the game. A lot of people like Iowa State, but I like Iowa taking the 4. And like I said, I'm going to take a little money line. But I think this is a dogfight, and it's a tight one. So under 46.
All right, under 46 with Iowa State. Best bet for Conor Mac. Big Ragoo, what do you got for your best bet?
Ride them Cowboys. They're going to be living on Tulsa time today. Go to the window with that. Oklahoma State.
There you go. Oklahoma State minus 12. Oh, that started already. You got another one?
Oh, it did? Shit.
Yep.
Okay. Let's I'm gonna take DJ's team, Notre Dame.
There you go. Notre Dame laying the points against
Irish.
Toledo, 16.5. Notre Dame at home laying the points. Best bet for Big Ragoo. DJ, what do you got for best bet?
I'm gonna lay the wood since I said I was gonna lay the wood today, and I'm gonna take Texas A&M minus 17.
All right, A&M minus 17 against Colorado. Best bet for DJ, Big Boss. Best bet for me when I look at it here. Oh boy, let's do Liberty Troy over 62. I like points in that game. 2 good quarterbacks. I think Taylor Powell's a good quarterback. I think they found something Troy from the Missouri transfer. He's played well last week in the opener. We know Liberty's loaded on offense. Still not sold on the Troy defense, and this is going to be a tough matchup for them. I see points being scored here. Liberty, Troy, over 62. Should be a good game. I'll be definitely watching much of this one. That'll be my best bet for this Saturday college football card. We cashed with an over last week for best bet. Mississippi State, Louisiana Tech went over the total. See if we can do it again this week. Good stuff. That is a wrap for the college football kickoff show here on Pub Sports Radio. We will be back next Saturday and all college football season long every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here on Pub Sports Radio, breaking down every Saturday college football game from a betting perspective. Everybody hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already.
Hit the like. We be
Conor Mac, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. Cash some tickets, and we'll see you next Saturday right here on the Pub Sports Radio Saturday College Football Kickoff Show.